I was hoping, summer was off to such a great start. Got a new car.
Yeah, but
and now it's completely derailed.
The car's not starting.
Yeah.
Whoa, what happened with the car? I saw you with your white boy summer.
Yeah.
What happened?
White boy summers, it hit a snag.
White boy summer's in trouble.
It might be woke.
They've come for Joey Chestnut, Hunter Biden.
Yeah.
The white boys are, since the calendar's flipped to June, things have not been going well.
White boy's down bad right now.
Yeah.
Damn. Down real bad.
Couldn't happen to a better set of guys.
We need a big white boy moment in the next week or two to save this.
Welcome back to Macrodosing. It's Wednesday. It's June 13th.
Thursday,
June 13th. Good call.
Yep.
I'm terrible with that. Terrible with dates. June 13th. It is a Thursday. We're back. It's myself, Big T, Arian, and we've got Mackenzie. Mad Dog is on a vacation. I think she's like halfway around the world, staring at boys somewhere.
Plotting. Her next victim. Sneaky.
Her journal is just like different boys' names with hearts drawn around them. Different last names. Like she writes Madeline and practices her signature with different last names. I bet you her journal is actually a Trapper Keeper.
Madeline Williams. No.
Those were clutch, though.
They were clutch. Those were great. Yeah.
Y'all had Trapper Keepers? I thought that was an us thing.
They weren't quite as popular, but people had them. And then there was a brand, I believe it was called Case It. Those were the cool ones to have. Those were like the Velcro binders.
Those were, my parents got me one of those and they're like, we're never getting you one again because I lost all my shit all the time. Like, we're not spending any extra. You're going to go to school with a steno pad and we're going to get you the cheapest, like, manila folders.
Yeah, this bad boy right here.
That's sick.
Those were clutch.
Yeah, I was obsessed with those. I would get a new one like every month.
Trapper Keeper. This is throwing me back right here. It's been a minute since I looked at these. Jesus.
Oh, first day of school, going back with all new school supplies.
Oh, the best. That was the only good thing about going to school.
Yeah, I'd always be like, come on, I need the 64 pack of crayons for school. they're like, you're in seventh grade. Yeah, crayons. But come on, I'm trying to color.
I was the can I borrow a pencil guy. That was me.
Yeah.
I was the can I borrow a pencil guy.
Did you ever get turned down?
Every now and then people got sick of my shit, but I was broke, man. What do you want me to do? But there was always these girls that liked me, and they had these gel pens. You remember the gel pens?
Uh-huh.
And so like I always used to borrow the gel pens, but I used to give them back. But it was like our gel pens. We just kept them in her Trapper Keeper. You know?
She just stored them overnight for you?
Yeah, you know.
I've been talking for years about wanting to create an adult version of the Scholastic Book Fair because that was the greatest day in the world. I'd give anything to experience that high again.
Yeah.
It was a good day. It was good. I always bought like books that were not like good for my studies.
Oh,
they always
for sure.
promote it as being like a very educational event.
And that's if you buy books at all.
Yeah, and I'd be like, you know what? Can I get the Calvin and Hobbes collection?
Oh, I would get those books, but then I still remember the Jeff Francoeur poster I got at the Scholastic Book Fair his rookie year. It was so sick. I remember that. I remember I got a pen one time that was the multicolored pen. It was like 6 different colors in one. That was unbelievable. Just walking into the Scholastic Book Fair with a $20 bill was the greatest feeling I've still ever had.
Well, so at my school, you had to like sign up to buy the books. You had to commit to buying them, and then they shipped them to your school.
Oh no, ours was they converted the library into a mall of books, posters, pens.
They had the merch there.
Yes, and it was so sick.
Mine was in the gym. It was just tables. You just sign up on a sheet. And you're
so you would like look at a piece of paper and be like, okay, I'll get that book shipped to me?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah, that
also,
was mine too.
Shout out to whoever runs Scholastic because that person is a fucking marketing genius.
Yeah.
For just convincing every school in America to invite your company in and sell books for you, sell your product.
There's got to be some type of nepotism or something.
Yeah. Some sort of connection behind the scenes.
Something happened.
They're really brainwashing kids. They are. They're indoctrinating children with their words.
Is there any book that that gives you that feel that you're back in, you're back in your adolescence feel?
Hatchet.
What is that?
Hatchet by Gary Paulson. It's about a kid that he's on a plane, the plane crashes, and then he has to survive in the Canadian wilderness all by himself.
I was talking about a little kid. You was reading this? How old was you?
I don't know. What is that?
That's like a fifth grade
I was going to say
probably?
sixth probably, but fifth. Yeah, something around there.
Okay, I've never read this book. That sounds like a little, the content sounds a little, it's wild, like a kid. I mean, but when you really break it down, a lot of kids' plots are kind of eerie, like in Disney movies, people die a lot in Disney movies, like dads, moms, like shit gets eerie, dog.
Yeah, the start of Up.
So sad.
Yep, sad as shit. Mufasa.
Yeah, but he's back.
Oh, I can't wait to see that,
He's back. Prequel time.
I can't wait. To
My
see
books, all the Mike Lupica books.
Yeah.
Those were
Yeah.
goated. I might reread those right now.
I read a lot of sports fiction. Yeah, about like a kid that gets to do crazy stuff.
Yep.
He's like a really good pitcher, and they're like, "Why don't you come up and play for the high school team, kid?"
Yep.
And then I was like, "I could do that."
No, Mike Lupica's goated.
Do you like Mike Lupica, like the man?
I don't know a ton about him. Is there a reason I wouldn't?
He's just like the classic curmudgeon-y sports writer.
I remember he was on the Sports Reporters, which was one of my favorite shows as a kid.
Hates the internet, or at least hated it when blogs came out.
I haven't done a deep dive into Mike Lupica recently, but outstanding author. I'll look at him right now.
All the old
curmudgeonly?
just grumpy. He's a grumpy guy. Get off my lawn.
Especially of an old person. Bad-tempered and negative. Curmudgeonly.
Yeah.
That is an amazing word to casually bring up in a conversation. Shout out to you.
I think curmudgeon's a pretty common word.
I don't think so at all.
Okay. Well, we can learn from each other.
I'll learn from you every day, Eric.
He's looking like mega ultra lib on Twitter, so that's kind of disappointing. I wish you hadn't made me look him up.
He's just very, very grumpy, and he hates bloggers, or at least hated him. He might have changed his tune, but all those old sports writers, when the internet came out, they're like, "This is going to destroy sports," because these guys in their mom's basements haven't spent time in a locker room. They don't talk to players. They're just writing about the sports they see. It's like, yeah, I'd say 99.99999% of people who love sports don't get to hang out and watch them shower after the game. And that's okay.
He loves just quote tweeting people and adding like one sentence to make it known that he too hates Trump. That seems to be his favorite genre of tweet.
Okay. Do you think it's more lucrative right now to become a big lib or a big like right-wing person? I think the right-wing angle is easier to get money off of. Like right off the bat.
Money, I'd guess it's probably equal popularity left wing.
I think that if you want to become like a big right-wing person, it's a very, very easy time to do that.
I think a couple years ago that was true, but now I feel like that market's pretty saturated.
You think so?
With all the Charlie Kirks and Daily Wires,
I think you
Turning
just
Points.
If
Candace Owens.
You just attach yourself to like whatever the new culture war thing is. Like what are people mad about these days? What's the new thing? What's the new Bud Light?
I mean, I'm mad about a lot, but
what's the new Bud Light? What are people talking about now?
I'm out the loop.
I'm not sure.
There'll be something. There'll be like a candy company that goes woke. And then...
Oh, no, Skittles just went ultra woke, actually. No, we're mad at Skittles.
Taste the Rainbow went woke?
No, we're mad at Skittles.
Oh, my God.
I'll find the bag that they made.
My childhood. But they don't even have characters. The Skittles aren't gendered.
Why are y'all
Just
mad?
Oh, you're incorrect.
They went M&Ms on us?
Incorrect. I'll find it.
Skittles don't even have like faces. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Wait. I'll find it. Hang on.
This is great. This is great that you have to do research to get mad about something.
Well, no, I've already seen it. I'm trying to find the picture.
Theory, why am I mad at Skittles?
Mackenzie, I'd like for you to get involved in the right-wing influencing sphere.
Oh, me?
Yeah. Just be pissed off all the time. But hey, these candies are fucking each other. I think it's easier to be accepted by being a known liberal, especially in like traditional media senses. But I think to immediately monetize it, I think if you already have like a little bit of notoriety, becoming the right wing version of whoever people thought you were, I think that's an easy way to make some money quick.
Oh, okay, I see it. Conservatives have a new outrage, Skittles Pride campaign. So I guess they came out with like express yourself,
Oh, Pride
be generous with
Edition.
your love, Black trans lives matter, and joy is resistance.
It is funny that candy brand is like Black trans lives matter.
Yeah, this was the bag in particular that people were upset about.
Okay.
And there that's where it says the Black trans lives thing.
Okay, so we're mad at Skittles now.
Yeah,
as a country.
But
okay.
that was apparently in 2023. I just saw it recently.
As a country now.
What do you think the original culture war was? That you can trace all today's culture wars back to like this inception.
Abortion.
I've got one. No, I mean I'm not talking about that. I mean like getting mad at either like a brand.
Like the Pepsi, Kendall Jenner.
Oh no, she did a great job.
What year is this about?
She diffused the situation.
I don't know when it started. I think maybe like 2008, 2009,
2008. Mad at brands.
I might be off on the year.
What kind of brand was it?
This is a predominantly beverage brand.
Okay. I don't remember Coke being woke then until pretty recently. Pepsi, we just said that wasn't a beverage company.
And we as conservatives, I say we.
Yes, thank you for coming aboard.
Right. Have y'all defined, like, I know there was like a big hang up about the definition of woke early on. I know that girl kind of stumbled her way through it, but have y'all like come up with a collective definition, or is it just everything that you don't really agree with?
For me, it's like obscenity. You know it when you see it.
So no.
I mean, it's left-wing propaganda.
Just a vibe thing.
Yes.
Got you. It's vibes. Wokes are vibes that I don't like.
No, but they do have there's a through line with it.
What is it?
Woke.
You define a word with the word.
Yeah, it's left-wing propaganda is how I would define it.
Left-wing propaganda is woke. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sounds concise.
Do you mean like cultural left-wing things?
As opposed to what?
Higher taxes on billionaires.
Yes.
Okay, so that's not woke.
I'm sure people who are woke would agree with that generally.
But I guess
woke
can be woke.
But yes, woke
I would also
cultural.
say Big T. There's a lot of people out there that like pizza. I'm sure a vast majority of pizza of woke people enjoy pizza.
Woke
is pizza woke?
Cultural performativism to further a left-wing agenda.
Okay.
That is how I would define it.
So, like, universal health care, woke or not woke?
Yes, but no.
Oh, let's play this game. Woke or not woke?
Yeah.
I just defined it for you.
The people, but you're saying that the people that would support universal health care
would likely also enjoy those Skittles bags.
So pizza, woke or not woke?
No, not woke. Pizza's American.
But people that would enjoy pizza, there's a good amount of them that would also be woke.
They could. There's people who breathe who might be woke.
That's what I'm saying. So there's people that could support universal health care that wouldn't be woke.
Could.
Okay.
Which is why I said.
All right. Ukraine.
I feel like most people are out on Ukraine now, except for the people in the government.
You think so?
I mean, okay, but yes, I think so many people are anti-Ukraine now that if you're still flying a Ukraine flag outside your house, you're woke.
There's a lot of Ukrainian people here in Chicago.
Yeah.
Ukrainian
So
village.
what if somebody's like from Ukraine?
Well, that's obviously different.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
Would they not be woke?
Well, no, we're talking about sending billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine for a war we should have nothing to do with. That's
but
obviously
you can
different.
be a Ukrainian American.
Sure.
But if you're a Ukrainian American that supports the U.S.'s alliance with Ukraine, or aid from the U.S.
Then I would understand why you do that, but you understand what we're talking about.
No, I'm trying to nail down a definition.
We're talking about people who have nothing to do with Ukraine, who are like, yes,
no,
keep sending.
This goes to your broader definition of woke, right? Because when you say woke, it's still very fuzzy, right? It's like a yes and a no thing. It's a feel, it's a vibe thing. So if somebody is of Ukraine, they would not be woke, right? Under this specific.
Well, we don't have enough information to determine. They might be.
So let's say they are.
Okay.
Are they woke?
You just said they were.
So are they? I'm asking you if they're woke.
Now you've lost me.
If
the only information we have on them is they like the U.S. sending Ukraine money because they're Ukrainian.
Yes.
Then no, I just think they have a bad idea, but they obviously have a reason to support it.
Okay, so if there's a reason to support said cultural stance, they wouldn't be woke.
No,
so
not
say somebody is black and trans. Would they then be woke?
Well, again, I understand why you'd have bad ideas, but that yes, you'd be supporting woke ideology if that's the word you want to use.
Okay, so no, there's no real definition. All right.
No, I said that from the beginning. I said it's vibes.
I think I can cut to the heart of this. I can cut to the heart of the Ukraine question. I think if somebody, Big T thinks that people, and I'm not disparaging or agreeing with his idea. I think I know how your brain works, and I think it's like if somebody, you think that there are a lot of people out there that are supporting Ukraine because Donald Trump was alleged to have been so close with Putin, so then supporting Ukraine was kind of like going against Trump.
Yeah, I think that's clearly. I think the left has developed this like anti-Russian thing, like the right likes Russia. They've somehow come up with that idea. So now they're like, we're so anti-Russian, like we'll send $1 trillion to Ukraine to show you how anti-Russian we are.
Mm-hmm. All right, so
the Republicans in Congress are doing that too. They're just as fucking pitiful. But
so that's what I guess that was my question. So I guess it was like really white folks kind of hijacked the word, right, from black folks, and then kind of using it as a cudgel. So
tell me what word you'd like me to use. Wrong. I'll use wrong.
Use whatever language you want. It doesn't bother me one bit. It's just hilarious. But
I'm not attached to woke.
Is there an antithesis of that adjective for the right that you would apply, because they do the same thing?
Like patriotic.
You would call them patriotic and the left woke.
Well, you said the antithesis of woke. I think the antithesis of
I guess I did say adjective. So I guess the antithesis of, I guess this is the opposite end of the opposite side of the aisle, because the right attaches themselves to cultural issues that they don't have any allegiance to, other than it's the opposite of what the left believes as well. That would be woke in the reverse, right, of what you would call it. So do you also call that woke, or do you acknowledge?
I don't know. I feel like you'd have to come up with that word. That's for you to determine.
If Arian comes up with it, you're just going to steal it in 5 years.
Right.
It's the brilliance.
Totally.
It's the brilliance of Big T. Israel, woke or not woke?
Not woke.
Sending a lot of money over there.
Right. Sending money places doesn't make something woke.
Okay. I'm
the woke are dressing up in cafes and going around saying, are there any Zionists on this train car? This is your chance to get out. That's the woke.
Uh-huh. Okay.
That actually happened, by the way.
In New York City?
Yep.
What about
among kicking the Jews out of their classes and off campus, and you're not welcome here,
Have Jews actually been kicked out of classes?
Oh, yeah. You haven't seen the videos of people being like, you are not allowed to pass through this area?
They've kicked Jewish people out of classes?
There have been Jewish students.
Wait. Have there been Jewish people kicked out of classes for being Jewish?
There have been Jewish students trying to walk through campus to go to class, and the Palestinian protesters are like, you're not allowed to walk through here, you're Jewish.
Are they saying that to everyone that's trying to walk through their protest to go to class, or just Jewish people?
Just Jewish kids.
They're asking you, are you Jewish? Then you're not allowed to go to class?
I think there was a kid who either he had a Star of David necklace or was like, he had made it known that he was, and they were like, yeah, you're not allowed. That's happened many. And to pretend, this is what pissed me off about y'all. Y'all pretend that like these things aren't happening when you know they are.
No, I honestly have not seen.
Okay, I'll send you 15 videos of that happening when we're done.
I've not seen a Jewish person.
It wouldn't
allowed
bother
to
me
attend class.
if you were just as outraged as the Palestinian discrimination. Like, I do acknowledge anti-Semitism. It happens, right? Racism and racists are stupid, but I think the bigger issue is people equate anti-Zionism to anti-Semitism, and they're not the same things. You can be anti-Zionist and not agree with the
But
state.
the people who are taking up that cause are not.
That's what's up. But that's
and
not
I
my
think
point.
you know that.
That's not my point, though. My point is, I think maybe for the point of this argument you would, but like in general, you're probably not looking out for. There's a lot of it's especially when 9/11 happened, for instance, right? A lot of Arab Americans felt a lot of discrimination, right? But it's never in the same veil as like the hate the anti-Semitism that people are getting right now. Does that make sense? There's a lot of Palestinian hate as well that is obviously going on, but I don't think you'd call that out, would you?
Like where in the U.S. are there college campuses being taken over?
There was a kid that got killed. There's a kid that got killed up north. I forget the actual the place. There was a kid that got killed.
Yeah, I think that was in Chicago. Or it was like a suburb of Chicago. Yeah, a little boy got stabbed because the landlord thought that his mom and him were Palestinian.
Okay, that's obviously wrong.
Right, we can agree on that.
Yeah.
Okay, more woke or not woke?
I mean, y'all know what...
No, I got some other questions. Fajitas.
They're neutral.
Neutral. So not woke.
I don't think there's any food item that is inherently woke except for, well, I take that back. Yeah. Avocado toast is woke.
Yep.
There are a couple, but 99% of food items are not woke unless the company that makes them aligns themselves.
Woke, bro.
French toast with like flower blossoms.
Yes, that is woke.
Okay. All right.
But for the most part, unless the company making it aligns itself ideologically with those kinds of ideas, then food inherently is not woke.
Ice cream.
No, it's everybody likes ice cream.
I thought ice cream went woke like a couple months ago when Joe Biden was eating it.
Well, Ben and Jerry's is obviously woke, but most ice cream companies are neutral.
Chocolate milk.
Neutral. Every food item you name for the most part is going to be neutral.
A cocktail with like 6 ingredients.
What are they?
There's chamomile.
Yeah, this is probably woke.
There's
well, tell me this. How much does it cost?
$17.95.
Yeah, it's woke.
Okay.
If it's more than $8, it's woke.
Okay. What about?
I got one. Black Jesus.
I mean, that's just. What does that mean?
Black Jesus.
Yeah.
The depiction of Jesus Christ as black.
I mean, he wasn't black. He was Arabic.
White Jesus.
It's historically inaccurate. I don't know if it's woke or not woke.
Got you. Well, we were playing woke or not woke. I just wanted to see if it was woke or not woke.
I mean, he wasn't black or white.
I hear you, Michael Jackson.
Santa Claus.
I don't think he's woke yet, but I'm sure somebody's going to try. Coca-Cola will make Santa woke soon.
Yep, if they haven't already.
Oh, there's this really cute number that you can do if you got nephews or nieces for y'all. But if you got kids out there who still believe in Santa Claus, I do believe preserving the belief in Santa Claus, ironically, gives them joy. You know what I mean? But there's this number that you can call that's like, he answers the phone and he's like, ho, leave a number and I'll make sure to tell Santa what you want. And it's really cool. And he texts back and it's a really dope little thing that they do.
Do you do the Santa tracker?
No, what's the Santa tracker?
Oh, NOAA, which we've talked about on this show before. They, the government, like, are they weather? Like, what are they?
Might be NORAD, but
it's NORAD.
In OAA, they might do something with it too. That's a national oceanic.
No, it's NORAD.
Whatever.
It's NORAD. They do you can track where Santa is all night on Christmas Eve. So when he's in Mexico, you tell your kids like, hey, he's getting pretty close. Like, you need to go to bed now.
That's pretty lit. Okay, I'm on this.
And they show him going all around the world.
Oh, that's lit. I'm looking at it now. Track Santa. Oh, shit. I'm on it. What a cool thing.
Woke or not woke? Dessert.
Not woke.
Okay. Flambe?
I don't actually know what that is. So I've heard the word.
Okay. Cheesecake?
Not woke. I would say no.
Flan.
Okay. Sounds woke-ish.
It could be woke. I feel like flan is woke. It's just custard. Just call it custard.
That shit's weird. I ain't gonna lie. It's very, weird texture.
Why are you so hung up on food?
Okay, we can switch it up. Toyota. You thought about a Prius?
I mean, they're Japanese, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't know anything about them that makes them inherently woke, but
the Prius.
Yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of Democrats who drive Toyotas.
Subaru.
I'm sure there are a lot of Republicans who drive Toyota trucks.
Subaru.
No, the only car company I don't know if there are any that are woke right now.
You don't think so?
Not Chevy. Yeah, I don't think I've seen any.
Okay, so
Zillow is woke right now.
Oh, Zillow's woke. Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Or remember they're having those commercials where like
Oh,
buy
yeah.
a house by yourself or with your friends, or you don't need a man.
There should be a rival real estate company that's like, ask your husband to buy this house for you.
Yes, buy houses with your spouse.
They get Harrison Bucker to
Spouse house. That should be
in it.
a company that somebody makes right now, and they only advertise houses to married couples.
My completely normal husband who makes more money than I do will buy me a house. That's the name of the app.
You don't have to buy someone a house. You buy a house with your partner.
Do you need a new kitchen? Tell your husband to look over there.
Yeah.
to remodel.
Yeah, this is a good idea. We should lean into this. All right.
You're seeming pretty woke right now. I'll tell you that.
How am I seeming woke?
Well, you're a lefty.
I'm not. I would not. Well, yeah, I would probably say that of all the policies I support, there's probably that fall more on the left than fall on the right. But I don't consider myself to be. I don't know how many times I have to say this, but I don't consider myself to be like a mainstream liberal at all.
Okay, I didn't say that. I know y'all are really hung up on that word.
Because you always use it.
It matters.
It's a you know what I'm saying, but I just said I know y'all are hung up on that word, so I didn't use it.
Okay, hot dogs.
I feel like hot dogs are anti-woke.
Vegan hot dogs.
Are they now?
Woke.
Yeah.
Joey Chestnut.
Yep, woke.
Joey Chestnut went woke.
Yep.
Joey Chestnut? Why he go woke?
All right, so Joey Chestnut has been banned from the Nathan's hot dog eating contest on the 4th of July.
Good.
What? That's like his contest, right?
Yeah, he owns it. He is quite literally the best human being to ever eat, which puts him in. It's an insane thing to say about somebody, but it's true. He can eat more than any other human being, and every other human being has tried his sport to one degree or another.
What about that dude? Remember that dude we talked about a long time ago? He used to eat like metal and maybe even ate a baby.
Oh yeah, that dude. Oh shit, I forget his name. The French guy that always stank real bad.
Oh yeah, wait, I know.
Yeah. He
That guy might have beaten Joey Chestnut. Okay,
yeah,
I forgot about him.
I'm just saying, there's room for competition. He was a muncher for sure.
Yeah,
Terrare?
Terrare, yeah.
Terrare.
Yeah, that dude was a legend. So Joey Chestnut has been banned from Nathan's hot dog.
And also,
contest.
he might have ate a human.
A baby, yeah.
Yeah, so what about the legend? Go ahead.
Is eating a baby woke?
Yes.
Okay. So
Killing babies certainly is.
So Joey Chestnut has been banned from the hot dog eating contest. He signed a deal with Impossible Foods. He got paid $1.2 million.
Lit.
It's a 4-year deal, so it's not like he's getting 1.2 per year or anything like that, but still a good amount of money.
Good come up.
So because he signed with Impossible Foods, Nathan's has banned him from the hot dog eating contest.
What?
Yeah. And I did as much reading on this as I possibly could to get the details of it. In no place did I see that he was planning on eating vegan hot dogs. Because, number one, that would be a competitive imbalance. I don't think he would count that if everybody else is eating pork hot dogs or beef or whatever, and then he's over here eating vegan dogs. It's not this. You're not playing the same sport.
I did see that it said he was going to represent the brand, which maybe meant wear like a shirt or something, because they all wear Nathan's shirts.
Maybe a hat.
But like, you understand why they wouldn't allow that.
An Impossible. Well, here's the thing. Nathan's has a partnership right now with Impossible Meats. They sell Impossible Meat products. They sell like an Impossible
Is
burger.
that true?
Yeah. TJ pointed out that this might be a work. We might be the ones that are falling for this.
Oh, so this might be a little, news story to drum up controversy?
It could be, yeah. It could be. And then they'll let Joey back, and it'll be like NWO coming back, and yeah, bad boy, the bad boy of eating. But right now, as we know, from the facts we have today, Joey Chestnut will not be competing, which makes the entire event fraudulent, in my opinion.
Yeah, you gotta have a dog there. No pun intended.
Gotta have him there. So I don't think he would never want to eat a vegan dog. That's the thing. Like, he would not eat a vegan dog during this hot dog eating contest.
Did they release a formal statement? Like, what was their reasoning?
Their reasoning, I don't have the statement in front of me right now, but Major League Eating pretty much said, we're disappointed. We've been trying to work with Joey through this, and we can't have him doing what he's trying to do.
Nathan's demands loyalty from its competitors. A key agreement for all competitors at the Nathan's contest, where people compete for the, quote, mustard belt and prize money in front of ESPN's cameras, is to not represent a rival hot dog brand. The latest contract between Chestnut and Nathan's had expired, and the two sides were negotiating a new one when Chestnut announced he had signed a deal with a plant-based firm. Nathan's didn't know then that it was with Impossible. Impossible released a statement saying, quote, meat eaters shouldn't have to be exclusive to just one wiener.
See, this seems like it's a WWE storyline, right?
It might be. You might be right.
We're gonna stay tuned to this space. We're gonna.
It's
keep
coming up.
Was
it like usually happens on 4th of July, right?
Yep.
Damn.
I remember last year Joey Chestnut saved America last year on the 4th of July. Remember that?
Yeah.
They tried to cancel the hot dog eating contest, and Joey rallied everybody together. They're like, fuck that. Let's go out and do it, because it was raining or something.
I will say that makes me consider that maybe they were like, well, how do we one-up almost canceling it and then Joey Chestnut saving America, kick him out.
Because of vegan dogs.
Right.
Yeah. It might be like WWE, but it also might be just two significant brands, Joey Chestnut and Major League Eating, wrestling for control of the 4th of July. Like, nobody's bigger than the league is what they're telling him.
Right.
I think Joey Chestnut might be bigger.
Now tell me this. Are you going to watch it without Joey Chestnut?
No Joey? No.
Interesting, because you were telling me the WNBA is so awesome without Caitlin Clark, and you love watching it.
See, that's where you're twisting my words.
That's what I heard.
Twisting my words.
Roll the tape back.
You were getting upset about how the WNBA is treating Caitlin Clark, and you never watch a game, and you'll never. You said that you hate the league. Man.
That's true.
You said I hate the league. I'll never watch it. But
I didn't say I hate
they're doing
it.
A bad
I do
job.
hate it, but I didn't say that.
They're doing a bad job of running their league, which I will never watch. Yeah, you said she was assaulted.
All right. What? So if that woman had walked up and punched her in the face, then it should be
out of here with
it's
that
actually battery, not
man.
assault.
But bullshit, man.
But no, but well, I'm being dead serious. Hang on for real quick. If she walked up and punched her in the face, then is that battery?
Bro, shut up.
Tell me. You have to be. If you're saying that's not, then you have to be able to tell me what
soft
is.
as fuck right now.
That's
sports.
fine.
And now we're getting into the world of, well, what if she pulled out a gun and shot her center court? What are you gonna do then, Arian? Like, what are you talking about, bro? It's sports.
I didn't say
you got
that.
pushed to the ground. Get your ass up and go play. Get up.
If she had punched her in the face, I'm sure she would have been suspended from the league.
Bro,
I don't think so. It doesn't seem like it.
Oh God, bro.
They would just said
they would have given her a bonus.
Boys will be boys.
Shit's funny to me, dog.
So, God, I feel bad for Caitlin Clark. I really do. I feel like she did not want to be a part of any of this larger discourse. She just wants to play basketball. She wants to play sports.
Nobody else wants her to.
That's not true.
Not on the Olympics. We don't want this. We don't want the best thing that's happened to this sport in its history.
You care so much about women's sport. You care so much about women's basketball and the WNBA.
I do find it fascinating that for years we have been inundated with you have to care about the WNBA. If you don't, you're a misogynist. And now people are like, oh, I kind of want to watch the WNBA because there's this electric player. And they're like, actually, we hate her. Fuck her. We don't like you. I find that genuinely fascinating.
They don't hate her. There's some players that hate her for sure. I think the league doesn't. The revenues are through
they're
the roof
emboldening the players who hate her.
And what do you mean? It's sports, Big T. This is what you should like about sports. It's what you profess to like about sport. The rivalries, the aggression. It's all that. But like when it comes to Caitlin Clark, you're like,
if anyone
hey, man,
wants, if any other player.
Think about how we're treating this young lady.
If any other player wants to dislike Caitlin Clark because they're jealous that she gets all this attention that they've never gotten, that's fine. I understand that. I don't understand the league emboldening that rather than saying, hey, actually, this woman is making us a shit ton of money and you're making you a shit ton of money. You should probably shut the fuck up and try to play nice with her.
Well, we don't know what the league has and hasn't done.
Play nice with her.
They did upgrade the.
You know what I'm saying, dude.
I don't know what
you're pretending to like not understand this very basic.
You're a sports Karen right now. That's what you sound like.
Okay, you're pretending to not understand something that you definitely understand.
What would you like?
Thank you for telling me what I do and do not understand.
What would you like the league to do?
Tell them, hey, she is making you money. Don't shove her to the ground in the after a play.
You'd like the commissioner to say that in a statement?
No, maybe tell them internally.
Well, we don't know what's happened internally.
Oh my! So what about when she pushes other people?
That's
Is that
true.
okay or not okay?
Has that happened?
Yes, bro. You don't watch?
No, the clip you're
He's
talking
an
about.
Aggressive player.
The
brother.
clip you're talking about. Are you talking about the one with Kennedy Carter, but right before that?
Just type in Caitlin Clark aggressive moments in YouTube,
Yeah, I'm sure.
and you're gonna see how she dirty. And I'm not saying that from like a, hey man, she's not playing. I like it, but I also like it when I like chippy basketball. I like that shit. Bring that shit back. But you over here thinking like she getting mauled every game, and it's just not the case. It's just not the case, bro. It's not happening. Making it up.
I didn't say she gets mauled last night or the night before. She got fouled and like kind of jerked back when she got fouled, and the player was like mocking her to her face. Like they all despise her.
I don't know what you want the league to do about it, but
again, y'all aren't listening. Y'all aren't listening.
Like substitute like man with woman, and you not having this argument. We're not having this conversation.
If there was a league that nobody had liked forever, and then there was somebody that was electric that people wanted to watch, and they were being treated like this, I would find it equally as interesting.
I don't think you're finding it interesting.
I do. I find it actually fascinating.
Okay, you might find it fascinating, but you're like, it sounds like you're inventing this like villainous depiction of all the women that are fouling her. When it's like, yeah, she's the golden child. You're supposed to go at the golden child. Like that is what is happening, but you're painting it like this is. I can't believe this is happening.
This will be the last thing I say about this. I think it is weird that these people who have said for years they need more attention, they need more this, that, and the other are getting that, and the person giving it to them, they all hate. That's all.
I also don't think they all hate her.
They do. That's very apparent, and it's weird to say that they don't.
I don't think. Wait, by these people, you're talking about the people that are
the rest of the WNBA. They all hate her.
But you were talking about like people that are saying you need to pay attention to this league. I assume you're talking about like WNBA analysts and commentators.
No, like the players,
evangelists.
I feel like for a while have been saying like, we deserve this attention. You should watch us, and that's fine for you to feel that way.
I don't think you can say they all hate her. I think that there's definitely some that are very jealous.
Find me another one WNBA player who said something positive about Caitlin Clark that's not on her team.
Okay, I don't know how I'm going to find that.
So here's the instances I can remember of other players talking about her. It was Diana Taurasi saying that the grown women in the league are going to kick her ass.
Also a hater because of UConn.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was Kennedy Carter pushing her down, then saying, I'm not answering any Caitlin Clark questions, then talking shit about Caitlin Clark on Twitter. It was the girl the other night that fouled her and then was like mocking her on the court.
Holy
they
shit,
all
bro.
dislike her.
This
And again, you
always
keep saying
happens. This always happens to people who have hype going into a league. This is always a thing. This is always a thing.
yes, but those
What's the
leagues,
problem?
those leagues have not struggled to gain attention,
Who
and
cares?
then had one person who's giving them all that attention.
How is that
I
a
guess-
factor? How is that a factor?
How is that a factor? I've explained why.
But how is that a factor when if you want the attention to be on your league and you want your league to be as equivalent as the NBA, when in the NBA this exact same scenario happens a lot, and then you're saying it shouldn't?
I just explained that. The NBA is popular. When a new player comes into the NBA players haven't been like for years, we really need people to watch the NBA. Like, I promise it's good, watch it. And then there hasn't been a player that's come into the NBA that has skyrocketed the attention level. That's why it's different.
Maybe not to the scale. Maybe no. I would argue that Jordan skyrocketed the NBA higher than Caitlin Clark skyrocketed the WNBA because he put it on a global scale. Would you not agree with that?
I'd have to go back and look, but that was a long time ago.
They fouled the fuck out of Jordan.
But that's what I'm saying is like he brought the NBA to a level.
Jordan
that
very famously has a thing named for him where players were not allowed to touch him.
That's not. Oh my god, that's not true.
Are you talking about the Jordan rules?
Yes.
The Jordan rules were the
to
Detroit
foul
Pistons.
the fuck out of him.
It was their rule to foul Michael Jordan.
That was the Jordan. rule.
You're mixing up what the Jordan rule was. The Jordan rule was the bad boy Pistons like Rodman, Lambeer, all those guys. Dumars beat the fuck out of Michael Jordan when he has
Every
the
time
ball.
he goes to the lane, he got to hit the floor. That was the Jordan rule, and that was prime
you're
Jordan
right.
MVP stuff when he took the lead to crazy heights, and people was like, "Fuck this dude." Everybody, Isaiah Thomas to this day don't like Michael Jordan. Why? Because he was the golden boy.
Also, when LeBron got to the league, his own teammates were like, "Yeah, he
hated him.
He probably won't start."
Hated
They
him.
were pissed off that he had all this attention.
Again,
he was the golden boy.
And again, that's not the same thing. The NBA was popular.
The NBA was pretty popular, yeah, but with Jordan, it did grow the brand enormously.
Yes, sure.
Enormously.
I guess like I thought y'all understood what I was saying. I guess maybe you don't. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing a poor job of explaining it.
Big T's perfect world, all right? In Big T's perfect world, Caitlin Clark enters the WNBA, and how is she treated? What happens? You tell me.
Again, let me say, I don't give a shit. I don't care.
But just answer the question. How is Caitlin Clark in Big T's perfect world of how to run
I
the
would
WNBA?
imagine if I was another WNBA player, I understand why they dislike her. What I don't understand is actively going out of your way to sabotage the person who's giving you the thing that you've been demanding for years. I don't understand that. And maybe y'all do, and you could tell me. I don't know, but
I think there's definitely a ton of jealousy. There's a ton of jealousy and a ton of resentment because again, they're competitors. If you're in the WNBA, you've worked really hard your entire life, getting really good at a sport. You think that you've always been like the best on the court whenever you played. You're a dog. You've got some like grit to you. You've got some fire, and then somebody comes in and they're a hot shot, and you want to just beat the fuck out of them. So you can feel the same way. Like, be very happy that she's in the league because of all the stuff that you're going to get from it, and also be like, yeah, but fuck her because I want to beat her.
maybe here's a better way I could explain it. At this company, right? I don't think it's certainly not a secret, but there are people. Not everybody likes each other. This is a large company. You have a lot of clashing personalities.
Can't stand Trent.
If you were someone who is lower on the totem pole, who maybe didn't like you, like I just fucking hate PFT for whatever reason, it would be very stupid of that person to go out of their way, go on Twitter and be like, PFT fucking sucks, I hate this guy. That would be a very dumb decision because you make a lot of money for the company that then pays that person, right?
But I do think, okay, but pulling that thread a little bit, if somebody were to start a major beef with somebody that's ahead of them at the company or higher up on the totem pole, that's going to be good for that person short term too. They're going to get a bump. I mean, you saw what happened with Tate. When Tate, he was remote, he was blogging, and then he started, going after everybody in New York that might have had a bigger profile. And then next thing you know, Tate's blown up everywhere, and Dave's like, I got to hire this guy full time. He's got his own army behind him now. He's like, done pretty well for himself in the last 6 months because of a beef. So it could actually work out.
Okay.
Like at the time, do you think Barstool would have rather kept, like, who do you think brought in more money for the company, Francis or Tate?
I have no idea.
I think it's easily Francis. And then he started the war against him, and then back and forth, and then it was good for him. Then Tate got a full-time job. So like you can make a name out of being like combative and going after somebody. It's a good short-term like branding strategy. Now I'm not saying that that's what they're trying to do. I think that there is a lot of resentment.
Well, that's why I asked. That's why I asked you. My bad. That's why I asked you, Big T. What is the perfect scenario in which it's hard to answer, because I don't think there's any instance, especially in sports in America, where blood doesn't sell. Blood, violence, and conflict sells all across any genre of anything. And so, like, how this is not good for the sport is I don't see that, especially because some of the takes, like with the assault shit, that shit is fucking bananas to me, dog. This is good. This is great competition. People don't like her. She don't like people. Let's get it cracking.
It was a dirty foul. It was a dirty play, but dirty plays happen in sports sometimes.
All the time. Should happen more.
Like if there's a rookie that gets into the NHL and he's a big dude and he's looked upon as being like the next big fighter, you think that everybody else in the league isn't going to go out there and try to fight that guy?
Again, it's a different set of circumstances.
Because of the current viewership of the NHL compared to what the NBA was doing like last year, year before.
Yes.
Okay. So there will be resentment. People are not going to like her.
I understand why they don't like her.
They're not.
Memo to the WNBA players, please be a little nicer to Caitlin Clark.
Again, I want it on the record. I don't care.
Guys are being very mean.
I regret having this conversation.
Guys
again.
are pushing her on the ground. It's not okay. It hurts her and her feelings and her fans' feelings. So can you guys please be a little nicer to her?
And even people who aren't fans of hers.
Buttering your bread.
It hurts people who don't even like women's basketball. It hurts their feelings too.
I think it hurts everyone else's feelings more than hers. Like, I don't think she cares at all.
Yeah, I think she's probably.
I don't agree with that at all.
I think she's frustrated, and
I bet she is royally pissed off.
Royally pissed.
I would bet $100,000 that the WNBA has made steps to talk to their officials, being like, be on the lookout for dirty fouls against her. If we know anything about sports leagues, the commissioners will get on the phone with the head of officiating and say, hey, we're going to make a point of emphasis that if somebody breathes on her too hard, make sure to call a foul for that. There's definitely some of that shit going on because
that would be a smart thing to do.
They fucked up when they didn't call the Carter foul, like a flagrant 1, flagrant 2. They fucked up when they didn't do that initially. And so I think they know that. So I would bet a ton of money that the league is taking some sort of step for that. Anyways, let's move on. Something a little bit less contentious. Mm-hmm. Hunter Biden found guilty in sham trial meant to make the justice system look legitimate, per Big T. So
it's a good headline.
I thought I'm very confused, and I am for justice for all. That's my motto. If you know anything about PFT, lock them all up.
So then we should have locked him up on the business dealings he did that implicated the president before the statute of limitations ran out, right? And then we didn't just try him for the thing for which there was insurmountable evidence to make it look like, oh, see, everyone gets convicted.
So I followed that the inquisition of Hunter Biden when they made him testify and shit. They had like months where they investigated him and they never prosecuted. They never charged him with anything.
Precisely.
But it was a committee that was run by Republicans. Like the entire purpose of bringing Hunter Biden in and question about like finance deals, they were trying very, very hard to find something to prosecute.
I think there was, give me a minute, but there was another thing that was not handled by Congress. It was by whatever not DA or whoever was supposed to do it. And they let the statute of limitations run out on that.
Okay.
And then only...
But you will agree that they tried desperately to get a connection between him and the president. Like the entire purpose of that was to impeach Joe Biden. And they did months and months of research. Anyways, he was found guilty on a charge. weapons charge. So I guess the bottom line of this one was when he purchased a gun, he checked a box that said he was not using drugs at the time, and that was cap. turns out smelled like some motherfucking cap, and so he's guilty, and he will probably, I don't know what the sentencing guidelines are for this. My best guess is he's not going to go to prison. Probably going to get some sort of like long probation for it. But he has been found guilty. Faces 25 years, but I don't think that they would do that for a first-time offender if you look at what everyone else gets. Now,
can his dad pardon him anyway?
What about this? So we've got Hunter Biden, getting convicted on felony. You've got Donald Trump getting convicted on felony charges. Is this a big play by Joe Biden to send his son to prison with Donald Trump and then have his son kill Donald Trump in jail? I've watched Mayor of Kingstown. This type of shit happens all the time.
What is Mayor of Kingstown?
Oh, buddy. You like Jeremy Renner?
Oh, that's Black Eye or Black Hawk. Hawkeye.
Hawkeye, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it's a show. It's based in like Michigan about a bunch of prisons. Everyone just hates each other and he's always making phone calls. That's pretty much the gist of it. But I think that'd be the biggest news story ever if Hunter Biden ended up killing Donald Trump in jail.
Is he? He's not violent, is he?
Hunter?
Yeah.
He bought a gun.
He likes to choke a lot from what I've seen.
I don't kink shame. If it's consensual, I don't kink shame.
I think he's a strange guy with a bunch of demons and loves crack.
Yeah, I never took to him as a violent, but I mean, I could be right. I don't know enough about Chris.
I think he's I would classify Hunter Biden as a hustler.
Okay.
I think dude hustles. Like when you've got a significant crack addiction like that, you have to be making moves, and he's got a wider network than almost anybody. So he's like traveling overseas, trying to get money here and there, and then when it does come into a bunch of money, sometimes he spends that on a little crack. But yeah, I did see a lot of people that are upset that he got convicted. A lot of right wingers are upset that he got convicted, not for the reason Big T explained, but because it should be his right, even as a drug user, to buy a gun. So now we're running into like a very weird Venn diagram. People that are like Hunter Biden was unjustly prosecuted because it violated his Second Amendment.
So this is even a bigger thing. We have two convicted felons, very famous convicted felons on both sides of the aisle with one of the biggest elections coming up in the U.S. history. Felons should be able to vote. Come on both sides and make that shit happen. Felons should be able to vote.
Or, yeah, maybe just Trump and Hunter Biden should be able to vote. That maybe cancels his votes out. But yeah, it is. There are some states where you can, right? Like Florida, I think felons can vote in Florida.
I believe so, yeah. Federally, though.
So, Big T just sent over a tweet from the GOP Oversight Committee here.
This is from when they were doing the thing with him last year, and it apparently the statute of limitations on some of the tax stuff had already been allowed to lapse before they were able to talk to him.
Okay, but they were the point of that was not to get Hunter Biden on tax stuff, because getting Hunter Biden on tax stuff would be just like getting Hunter Biden on a weapons charge.
No, it's not, because the tax stuff involved dealings with Joe Biden.
Well, if the tax dealings involve Joe Biden, then that's really what they're going for. They're not trying to get Hunter, they're trying to get Joe.
Okay, what's your point?
So if there's illegal tax stuff that's going on with Joe Biden and his son Hunter, then they would dig way deeper, and that would be something that would be grounds to start an official like impeachment proceeding against Joe Biden.
Okay, I'll look deeper into this, but
all I'm saying is they look pretty deep in Congress, and they didn't find anything.
And I believe, as I'm trying to show you, that David Weiss, the special counsel, had let the statute of limitations run out before they were able to do anything.
Okay,
that's my understanding.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that if there was like back channel cash payments from Hunter to Joe selling influence, Joe Biden making millions of dollars, that would be something that Congress would look to impeach upon.
again, we know there are. They weren't able to do that.
I don't know that we know that there are, though. I followed it pretty closely. I watched most of the news coverage because I want to know. I want to know if Joe Biden is sending his son out to like foreign countries and bringing boatloads of cash back.
Well, he was when he was coherent.
China and Ukraine.
Not doing anything anymore. Did you see him standing there for a minute without moving the other day?
Yeah. So again, I saw that video, and then I looked into it more, and yeah, he looked weird. He's got these senior moments where he looks like he has no idea where he is. Absolutely. But then a lot of the videos that were being shown around were actually slowed down in the frame rate.
I don't think so. Not what I saw.
Okay. I saw some that were. Anyways, Hunter, should he go to prison or not, Big T?
I don't care. I would say probably not, because the whole point of this is we put Hunter Biden in jail, so what we do to Trump is completely legit. So no, I say free Hunter.
Free Hunter?
Yeah.
Okay. Who was prosecuting him? Who were the judges? Libs?
I have no idea.
I think they were all appointed by Trump, and I think the prosecutor was a Trump person too. So, also, Kevin Spacey's back in the news. Have you seen Kevin Spacey around recently?
Yeah, he's been crying all over the place. Crying Kevin, that's what they call him.
He's such a... I mean, weird isn't even
Didn't he?
the right
Wasn't he
adjective.
supposed to get, like, arrested?
I have not followed the Kevin Spacey case that closely, but I do know that he has... there's a lot of circumstantial, if not concrete, evidence around him. So he's saying that he didn't want to be around Epstein. Kevin Spacey's also accused of like grooming 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds. Right. He's been a known creep for a very long time. His videos that he puts out from time to time as like Frank Underwood.
Yeah, creep.
Very strange. Great actor. But maybe that's what makes him so good at lying. I don't know. Usual Suspects still holds up, by the way. Have you seen that?
No, I actually only recently, I was watching some YouTube videos like the 10 best twists or whatever.
And that was number 1 probably, right?
I think it was 2. I think Planet of the Apes was number 1, actually.
Oh, spoiler. It was Earth.
Yeah.
They were on Earth the whole time.
So, Arian, can you explain that to me? They thought, how did humans think they weren't on Earth?
They were trapped in cages. They were enslaved by a race of ape people.
Well, it depends on which one are you talking about? The new one?
The first one.
The very first one?
Like 60s, yeah.
Yeah, so the very first one, they were... Well, there was so like we're not. I think it was actually set in 2000, somewhere around now, actually, if I'm not mistaken. But they were on a plane. Yeah, spoiler alert if you haven't seen this, it was in 1968. But they were on a ship, and they were traveling to another planet, and they hit like some kind of time vortex, and it shot them to like super far in the future, and they crash landed on a planet. They didn't know it was Earth at the time, and then they crash landed on a planet, and when he got there, none of the humans could talk, none of the humans could speak, and they were all just kind of herded by apes. And then the apes were the intelligent species that had a society and civilization, and the head of the apes knew the history of the apes, but they didn't let the apes know. And there was a dude that was talking who showed them flight. He gave the girl a paper airplane. He said, "I'll show you something to change the world." It's a really dope movie. But then at the end, when they let him go because he was gonna like cause too much mischief, as he's walking he's riding his horse on the beach with his captive Earth woman, he sees the Statue of Liberty
right
in ruin. So that's basically a breakdown of the plot.
Good twist.
Movie. Yeah, it was good. It was a dope movie. He said, "Damn you all to hell." One of the greatest acting moments of all time. "Damn, you did it, you son of a bitches. Mm-hmm. You ruined it."
"Get your hands off me, you damn dirty ape."
And then towards the end, he started falling for the other little ape lady too.
Yeah. Yeah, he was into her. He was into her. There's about to be some freaky stuff going on.
Yeah, probably went down.
She was good looking though.
I didn't mind her.
Yeah, she was not bad looking for an ape.
If you want a deserted planet,
yeah,
is what it is.
But yeah, watch The Usual Suspects, Big T. I think you'll like the ending of it. He's a great actor, world class creep, first ballot Hall of Fame creep.
So Kevin Spacey, this is what I don't get about. He was on Piers Morgan, and he was explaining his connections to Epstein. And at the beginning of his statement, he said, we were on a plane, like, to go do these like events. I didn't know whose plane it was. I didn't know who he was. And then towards the end, he was like, yeah, but Epstein was around Bill Clinton, and I didn't like him because, he was making he was putting the president at jeopardy because there was a lot of young girls around. And then Piers Morgan, there was young girls. He's like, there was a lot of girls on the plane, young girls. And so at first he was like, I didn't know who he was. I was just on a plane in an expedition. And at the end, he was like, I didn't like him because he was putting the president at risk. So it was like, it made no sense to me. And he definitely sounded like he was lying.
I didn't like Jeffrey Epstein because he was putting the president at risk for hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein.
No. He was putting the president at risk for having all these young girls around.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, if it's true.
Confusing. Yeah, it's just as confusing as it sounds.
If it's true, Bill Clinton should be in prison. Can we get the list already? Where's the fucking list? I want to see this list. And Trump said that he was going to declassify JFK, moon landing, all that shit if he got elected again. Then they asked him about Epstein, and he was like, "Yeah, probably, but that one I'm not so confident in because there's a lot of people that might be named in it that didn't have anything bad to do, and they might get in trouble for just being guilty by association."
Which I do believe that to be true, because a lot of Epstein's cover was like philanthropy, so he would like have these like big philanthropic meetups with people. Mm-hmm. That were influencers, because I mean, you can't just be like, yo, I'm running this pedo operation in this island, you know what I'm saying, y'all trying to come through. Like, I think he had to have a cover, and I think that was his cover. Does that implement everybody? I don't think it does without strong evidence, but also doesn't absolve everybody. So it's this weird gray area where it's like, if somebody was like, yo, this was a philanthropic mission that we went on, like, and that happens to be the case, like, who's to say, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It'll open up a big can of worms, but I do think the list needs to be public, though.
Yeah, but anybody that is mentioned is definitely going to be looked at as being a pedophile for the rest of their life.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, that's tough.
If you went to the island, I want to know.
That fucking up.
If you went to the island, I want to know. I want to just release the island list. Can we do that?
Well, I think that's where they had the missions.
If you were on that fucking island, you should be named. If you flew on the plane because he was being a philanthropist and he took you to like MIT one weekend or something, or you got to use his plane, okay, yeah, there's probably a good amount of people that did that did not indulge in underage sex or anything like that. I understand that, but if you were on that fucking island, I want to know.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
So before we started taping, I was talking to you guys about this new documentary series that I'm watching on Netflix. I'll just say for the people out there, highly recommend. I think it's called Hitler and the Nazis, Evil on Trial, and it's about the Nuremberg trial, and it goes back and shows how Hitler came to power and all that stuff. It's no secret. I've watched a fair amount of documentaries about Adolf Hitler and the Nazis.
Let me ask you this real quick.
Read a couple books about World War II.
Because I'm interested in what you're about to say. But I'm also interested in your interest of like history and the reasons as to why. Just like, what is it? You have a fascination with history, and just like from human being to human being, like, what is? I'm not saying it's wrong, or I'm curious as to like what sparked it. Like, why the interest in history as much as it is?
I guess I was fascinated with it. First of all, I guess I've always enjoyed reading and learning more about that time in history, because it was a bunch of people, millions and millions of people, that all agreed to do something excruciatingly evil. Mm-hmm. And it was like, how did that happen? I wanted to know how that happened, and also how the person that ended up directing it, how they came into power. And then it's just, World War II is just like an ultimate battle of good versus evil. That's how we're taught about it, right? Yeah. Is you've got maybe one of the most evil people to ever live against freedom. And once you dig into it a little bit more, you realize there's a little bit more to it than just freedom versus one evil guy. And so then all the nuance of that, it's interesting to learn how people can get into these situations where they will just, tens of millions of people will die in a war. Just a couple years after the war that we had that was supposed to end all wars occurred. And then after World War II happened, then we're like, okay, finally, no more wars. And then Korea, then Vietnam. Then I want to learn more about Vietnam and how we got pulled into that. And then Iraq happens. And then it's like, wait, why did we get into Iraq when we just went through this in Vietnam? And so, yeah, just kind of like that. Trying to find out more about like why people do crazy shit that is a big negative on the human species. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess that's probably the best way to describe how I got into it. But then as I started writing online, and I was doing like the PFT commenter blogs, things like that, I loved it when I would be in like looking through a comment section or a discussion thread to see how quickly somebody would get to World War II comparison, regardless of the topic. So like it could be about Roger Goodell and the new CBA in 2011. And then somebody's like, well, you know who else gave himself all the power and then used it to pass sweeping acts against the people that he wanted to undermine? That's right, Hitler. And so then it became a contest, just like see how everything can be compared to Hitler, because that's like the easiest way to win an argument online. You can compare somebody to Hitler or to Jesus. And at that point, if you've been able to draw a straight thread, you win that argument online. So then I started learning more about World War II so I could make more of those arguments about how, Tom Cable is like Hitler, or how Robert Griffin III is like Goebbels or Hitler. So that's kind of how I got like even further into it. But this documentary was really, really good, and I learned a lot of interesting stuff about how it happened. Hitler was like radicalized during World War I, and they controlled the media so hard in World War I, the German army and the German government, that anyone who was fighting in the war, probably on both sides, I don't think this was exclusive to Germany, but if you were a soldier in the German army, as you were losing the war, and it was like a terrible war, you saw people getting blown up, you were in the trenches, you had gangrene, all this weird shit, you thought that you were winning, and you were told by your superiors, like, this is great, you're doing a great job, we're almost at the end, and the sacrifice won't be in vain. You will have won this war. And then at the end, they just told him one day, okay, you're not fighting anymore. We lost. And then Hitler, as somebody that got blinded and he got hit with like mustard gas, he saw his friends die. He was like, what the fuck? What do you mean we just lost? I've been sacrificing my body for the will of the German people and the government and everything I believed in. And so he was really, really pissed off when they told him out of nowhere, okay, you guys lost the war. Then they signed that treaty, and the treaty was basically France bending Germany over and being like, yeah, you got to pay for everything. You're not allowed to have anything. When in reality, it's like a little bit messier than that. And World War I was started because of a bunch of different treaties and then the assassination, obviously. And so it was a war that was started just out of like diplomacy and out of people coming to war and fighting for countries that they had shaken hands with. And then Germany got blamed for everything that happened. And then they basically got driven into a deep, deep depression, and their government really couldn't do anything because they got hyperinflation. Basically, Germany lost all of its national pride because it had to accept shame for losing a war that they helped to start. But also you can make the argument that a lot of other countries helped to start World War I. But Germany had to deal with that shame. Hitler was like, this is fucked up. This is not our shame to bear. That's not what Germany's about. And then he started rallying people about, like in smaller groups, to his cause. He would be like, this is fucked up. Germany is a great country. We were done dirty. And he blamed it on Jews because there were a couple Jewish people that were involved in the signing of the Treaty of Versailles. And so he said that this was a global conspiracy by the Jews to make Germany the bad guy and to drive them deep into a depression. And so everybody in Germany at the time, or a lot of people in Germany at the time, were very poor. They would go to work. They would get paid for a day's work or a week's work. And by the time they got home to buy something with their money, they couldn't spend their money because it was worthless. So you've got people that are actively starving, living in squalor. They're used to a lifestyle that before the war was completely different. And now you can't buy food with the money that you have. So there's an old saying, I don't know who said it, but I think it's like every country is 3 missed meals away from a revolution. So like if you can't get food for a day, then people are going to be like, fuck this, let's do something. And so in Germany, they were all very poor, missing meals. And they also had this big national shame. And Hitler was the only one that was like, you should not feel shame about this. You should be proud of yourself. It's your government that's done this to you. It is a Jewish conspiracy that's done this to you. It has nothing to do with you as a people. We need to stand up and fight for ourselves. And so people that are living in poverty at the time hear this message and they're like, he's right. It's not my fault. It's not our fault. It's somebody else's fault. I'm going to support this guy. And he was also a very powerful public speaker, and he could get people to just listen to him. And he would just show up to like debates and just start arguing with people that were already established politicians. And so then at that point, he developed a following. He developed a lot of drunk young people that like to start fights in the street. And he kind of deputized them as being his police force or his like personal bodyguards. And they would just go out and beat the shit out of people. So now it's like, wait, this guy has basically like his own army behind him. And he started getting high on his own supply. He was like, you know what? There's such passion for my movement, and I've got such a good squad behind me. We're just going to take over the government. So they tried to take over a small part of the government, and he got arrested and put in jail. And he was even like defiant when they were sentencing him because he was like, yeah, this is the reason why I did all this stuff. And so they're like, okay, whatever, just go to prison for a little bit and chill out while you're in there. And then while he's in there, he wrote Mein Kampf, and he decided that he couldn't have a good long-term revolution if he was just trying to take over local governments with a gun. And he just decided that he was going to try to develop more popular support around the country and have the movement grow. Then there was this dude.
So how long was he in? How long was he in jail?
I think we talked about this the other week. I don't know how many years, but it was not that long. It was like 5, 4, 3, something like that.
Right. So what you're saying, so to your, because I have a loose understanding of what's going on, but to the nuance of what happened in that era, not my cup of tea. Mm-hmm. So do you say that he further sharpened his ideas while he was in jail?
Yes.
And so do you think that if he had never gone to jail, any of this happens?
I don't know. Because if he didn't go to jail, he probably would have just been like emboldened by the slap on the wrist, and he would have tried it again or tried something again.
Right.
But he did, he sharpened his ideas, but he also had a lot of time to think, and he was obviously very, very deep into an international Jewish conspiracy that he was pinning at the center of this. And then he figured out how to connect a lot of dots that weren't there to strengthen that argument. And it's very powerful when you're telling people that are doing very poorly as a people, like, it's not your fault, it's this person's fault, and we should all be mad at them. Yeah. And so he figured out how to sharpen that up while he was in prison. Then he got out, and he had his propaganda ready to go. They took over a lot of the newspapers, and there was this one dude that they put in charge of the country. Well, there's a chancellor, and then there's I don't forget the title of it, but there was the chancellor who was named by the head of the government, and then this dude was such a cuck that he just kind of let Hitler take over for his duty, for his job, because he was afraid of Hitler and his police. And then Hitler named himself to be Fuhrer, which is just in charge of the entire country. And he had the ear of the population because they hated their government, they hated going along with this treaty and all this stuff. But yeah, the entire time he was workshopping how to get people to support his message by giving them somebody to blame. And that was Jewish people and international financiers, and saying at the time, I think it was like 1% or fewer of the German population was Jewish. And so it was a very, very easy minority to target and to pick on and to blame for everything. Because it's like, what are they going to do? There's not even that many of them, but we can blame every problem that we have on them. And so, yeah, then a bunch of other stuff happened. But figuring out and watching and listening to some of the words of how he came to power, it does make you realize how it happened and the type of rhetoric he was using and how effective it was.
That sounds fascinating. And you said it's on Netflix?
It's on Netflix. It's really good.
I'm definitely going to hit that up.
They glossed over the war in Russia a little bit too much. That should have had like 4 episodes, but they only did like part of one on it. But they didn't really touch Stalingrad that much, which is maybe the craziest battle ever fought. Also, Stalin, the whole Stalin dynamic with Hitler is fascinating to me too. Like at the start of the war, they were on each other. They were squatted up. They're like, you take this part of Poland, I'll take that part of Poland. Everybody's happy. But then Hitler was like, wait, these Bolsheviks, which he tied into the Jewish conspiracy, they're unclean people, and we need to wipe them out too. So we're just going to do that and invade Russia. And then Stalin was like, I can't believe this guy stabbed me in the back like that.
So as a staunch fan of that era, do you feel a lot, and I'm not saying it's anywhere near that, but I'm just saying, do you feel a lot of our political, I guess, rhetoric nowadays is reminiscent of that?
I think politicians know that you need to scapegoat somebody, and it's a very powerful tool to use when you blame a small subset of people for your problems. Right. I think that hasn't been lost.
Yeah, that's what I see. I see that as well. I wish our politicians knew like rational discourse. What became Trump kind of popularized and like the boastfulness and the brashness of like spearheading, against your political opponent, like just calling it like you see it. Like I just feel like that shit is so, and it happens. I really do think it happens on both sides now, where it's just like, and like the Democrats, they kind of have to. They were on the reactive side of that, and they're not as good at it, honestly. But now like all of the underlings of Trump, they're like all calling it out. Democrats got to do it, and then it's back and forth. I'm like, Doug, it's nowhere near healthy. Like even if I agree with you, like it has to be some kind of like nuanced conversation where we can have a rational debate about something. But it's just, I think it's gone. Them days are dead.
It might be, and this is further why I think that just being a fan of a politician is the corniest shit you can possibly do.
Facts.
Like people that are like diehard fans of one guy that's just like running for office, trying to secure his own job and power. It's weird shit. It's weird shit. Like, I'm not singling out like Trump, because obviously Trump has that dynamic to it where there's a ton of people that are like, I fucking love Donald Trump, and that's weird to me for sure. If you're a fan of a single guy like that, because it's happened before with Democrats. Like there's people who are fans of Obama, for sure, and they're just like, yep, that's my guy. He represents everything that I feel, so I'm just going to root for him no matter what. Mm-hmm. And it happened with like JFK is another easy example of that. Reagan, to a certain extent, people are just fans of a leader and they'll follow him wherever. And it can be kind of dangerous because people are flawed. Everybody's flawed. And
it's kind of like a prelude to our conversation today and what the episode's about. But it really gets into like the social psychology of our society and how susceptible we are to idols and idol worship, and how easily people just fall into the entrapment of this person good, no matter what the case. And you can be a fan of people, but I think, like you said, it's very odd to be a fan of a politician. Like I have politicians whose policies I like and dislike, and that's why I always keep it. I'll keep it at like the policies. Mm-hmm. Like, what are your policies, and what are they trying to implement into our society? Like, because the majority of, I think, politicians now, they're not advocates of their policies. They're advocates of their ideologies. They're advocates of their banter.
Yeah.
And that shit is just, it's just nonsense to me. It's hogwash.
I like that. It is hogwash. There's two other things with this documentary real quick. One, the 1936 Berlin Olympics.
Oh, that was big.
We should have known better than to let the Nazis host the Olympic Games. There's like Nazi flags flying everywhere. It was a Nazi rally. It was crazy. But they showed some of the clips from when Jesse Owens was running. Won 6 gold medals, I believe, in those Olympics. Yeah. And they show Hitler in the crowd, and it's supposed to be a big moment for Aryan supremacy. And he's like looking at his chief of staff next to him, and he's just biting his lip, just his hand shaking, because Jesse Owens is just running way faster than any of his hand-picked Olympians. It was very funny to see.
He's on like meth too. He's like rocking back and forth.
Yeah,
doped up.
Yeah, but he was so mad that Jesse Owens was so fast. And also, I did some more research on those Olympic Games. they just banned a bunch of Jewish athletes. They pretty much said, like, if you're Jewish, you're not allowed to compete in Germany. And a bunch of other countries were like, okay, that's fair. Like, it's pretty embarrassing for the world to go along with that. And there were some countries that weren't even allowed because they had too many Jewish athletes. And so the Olympic Committee was like, okay, that's fine. We don't want to piss Hitler off too much.
How prevalent were worldwide political protests back then? I'm genuinely curious.
I don't know. I think it was way harder.
Yeah.
It was much more difficult to get something like that together.
Right. Especially because the communication via country to country was probably extremely hard. What was it? It was just what, letter by then, wasn't it?
Yeah, letter writing, newspapers.
Radio.
They did have radio. You're right.
Yeah, also, there were like morning and afternoon newspapers that would come out. So like you would go to work and then you'd want to know what happened. And you'd be like, I got to pick up the afternoon journal.
That's why a lot of cities like that have hyphenated papers, it's when the two combined.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, there was the Atlanta Journal and the Atlanta Constitution, and one was in the morning, one was the afternoon, and then they combined. Then like the Sun Times or whatever.
The Times-Picayune?
Yeah.
Wow,
That's
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Yeah, that was like Twitter. Like I got to refresh the news.
That was the refresh button.
Yeah. I gotta slap my thumb. By the way, so many people have hit me up being like, yeah, the ad sensitivity on Twitter it's way higher than it used to be.
Yeah, they're gaming the click-throughs. Bullshit. So
no, they're gaming the click-through on the ads. I'm telling you.
It could be. I'm just joking. Nobody hit me. I was joking.
I'm 100% right about that.
You could be. I just haven't noticed. I literally have not clicked on an ad that I didn't want to click on.
It's not the dumbest thing Elon's ever done.
No, it's just, hey, it's my anecdotal evidence. I acknowledge it's anecdotal.
It makes sense that they would do that. I just haven't experienced it.
Yeah, I mean, he's just like, if you touch your thumb on the screen on an ad, you're going to click on that, and then we're going to be able to tell them, look at where your conversion rate is, so then you're going to spend more money with us.
So they gave me the blue check mark back, right? And I still get ads, and they keep asking me if I want to upgrade to premium. But what's the point of the blue check mark now?
I don't know.
Because I thought it was no ads.
I don't know. I think blue check mark. You're talking about Premium Plus. It's funny. Elon Musk has invented my fake invention of the Athletic Premium Plus subscription. He calls it Premium Plus, literally, and it says additional benefits like no ads in your For You and following timelines, and the largest reply prioritization. So I think if you get Premium Plus, I don't think anything shows up. You don't get a badge that's identifiable. Your Twitter experience is just streamlined.
So people see your shit first.
Yeah.
Got you.
Exactly.
Cool.
Premium Plus. There'll be another addition to that. There'll be like Premium Plus Gold membership. Or you get Twitter Rapid. That would be good. X Rapid, where you get tweets 30 seconds before anybody else.
No, I would hate that.
You would hate that?
Yeah.
For like live events?
Well, that's the appeal of Twitter, is that everybody gets the same information at the same time.
Exactly. But now, see, you're touching on something here, because if that's the appeal of Twitter, then by taking that away would make people more likely to pay to have that same experience back.
Elon listens to this podcast. Don't give him any ideas, man.
It's a good idea, Elon. That's a free one. That's a free one, Elon. Come on the podcast and discuss. He's definitely going to do that at some point.
Now that you said it, it makes more sense, and I hate it even more now.
Did you see the story that came out about him today?
No.
Oh, he's had some odd text exchanges with female employees.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah, I saw that.
Didn't lace me. I did not see any of this.
Hang on, I'll try to find it. Yeah, but there was one. He had been texting this woman who worked for him, like, "Hey, come over. Like, we have a lot of work to do. Like, you should come to my house. This, that, and the other." And then he said, he texted her like 8 times in a row without her responding, and he said, "Are you going to come over tonight? Because if not, I'm probably just going to trank out."
What does trank out? Does that
like
mean
take tranquilizers? I
ketamine,
guess?
probably.
I can't find the article right now, but it was basically just he sends weird texts to female employees.
Yeah, he was like trying to get her over, and she was complaining about work, and he was like, "Come over, talk about it," that sort of thing. And then he was like, "Don't bother." What did he say at the end there? Like, you and I probably.
Oh, he said
shouldn't
like,
talk.
yeah, we probably shouldn't see each other after sending her like 15 unread texts.
Yeah, that's when he was trying.
It's not me, it's you.
Yeah, listen, I'm gonna call this off.
Yeah, it's
I'm gonna
getting weird. It's getting
listen.
weird.
I know that you haven't replied to the last 7 texts, but I'm gonna uninvite you from Beer Olympics. It's kind of what Elon was doing right there. Also, Cocaine Olympics. I know we talked about Weed Olympics on this show. Weed Olympics we could actually do, but think about the possibilities for Cocaine Olympics or Meth Olympics. Hitler had the Meth Olympics. That's the other thing I didn't like about that documentary. I wish they had addressed at all Hitler's rampant drug use, because everything else comes into focus when you realize how fucked up he was all the time.
It's a real shame your summer's been derailed with the cancellation of the beer games.
It is,
or the relocation, I guess, and uninvited. You were uninvited.
Yeah, we were uninvited.
That sucks.
I'm broken up about
it. What is the Beer Olympics?
The beer games. The beer games were going to be an event taking place in sunny Las Vegas, Nevada, next week, and it was going to be drinking beer and playing different beer events with a bunch of dudes, and I think a couple chicks too. And when we first heard about it, we were like, "Fuck yes, let's go drink some beer with the boys." Like, nothing sounds better than that. I'm in. I'm a at least one-time champion of James Madison Rugby's Beer Olympics that we had back in 2006, 2007. So I get it. I want to compete, and I like drinking beer. I feel like Kavanaugh. I like beer. Still do. I like drinking beer. So we were invited to this, and then it turned from a 1-day event into like a 4-day, if you include travel, 4-day trip out to Las Vegas and back. And we're pretty busy. Hard to take just 4 days off in the middle of a week and go out there and just drink beer for a day. So we were not really looking forward to the trip because we'd be missing a lot of time at home. And then we made that sentiment very public, where we were like, okay, we're just going to say it'd be a shame if the entire event got canceled because everybody dropped out. There were so many people that were involved that ended up being like, yeah, you know what? It's a lot of time, can't do it. So we were just saying it'd be a shame if it got canceled. And we kept saying that over and over and over again, to the point where Will and Taylor were like, I don't think they want to be here. Let's just uninvite them. So they canceled on us. So it's a real shame.
Got you.
It's a real shame. But Weed Olympics would be great. Meth Olympics, probably not so much. Cocaine Olympics.
Hunter Biden would disagree.
With meth?
Yeah.
You think he's a meth guy too?
Has he not done meth?
He was
doing crack.
I feel like
I thought it was crack. Yeah.
If you've done crack, you've probably done meth.
I would venture to guess. Yeah.
Yeah. But then one employee who shall not be named came up to me today and gave me a great idea. Ketamine Olympics. Ketamine Olympics.
That was the 1936.
It was. I think a good idea for Ketamine Olympics would just be you take a big dose and then you see who can go the longest without moving. Just like lay perfectly still. You can't fall asleep, but you just have to not move a muscle besides breathing. I'm going to let you guess who gave me that idea.
Does this person's name include a state?
No.
Oh.
I'm trying to think whose name includes a state. Big Tennessee?
No, I actually didn't even. First of all, it's not my name, but I didn't even consider that. But no, it was a different state.
Dundee, Oregon?
No. You'll come up with it eventually.
Okay.
But it's not who I thought it was, so.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll figure something out. But I'm pretty broken up. I appreciate bringing that up though, Big T.
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping, summer was off to such a great start. Got a new car.
Yeah, but
and now it's completely derailed.
The car's not starting.
Yeah.
Whoa! What happened with the car? I saw you with your white boy summer.
Yeah.
What happened?
White boy summers, it hit a snag.
White boy summer's in trouble.
It might be woke.
They've come for Joey Chestnut, Hunter Biden.
Yeah.
The white boys are, since the calendar's flipped to June, things have not been going well.
White boys down bad right now.
Yeah.
Damn.
Down real
I
bad.
hate couldn't happen to a better set of guys. What
We
happened to
need
your
a
car?
big white boy moment in the next week or two to save this.
Okay.
Trump's got to do something hilarious. We need something.
So got the car. Was very excited about the car. I still love the car. Her name's Sexy Red. I may or may not have gotten a vanity plate. I'm not going to tell you what it says yet, but I was pumped. I took a video of it because I wanted to debut Sexy Red to the world.
Saw that joint. It was lit.
It is. It's a loud fucking car, and it's the car that I've wanted my entire life. So I'm very, very happy about it. And
It's the car that I'm. What kind is it?
1970 Chevy El Camino SS.
Yeah, okay, so mine's gonna be a few years before that, but I'm getting a similar one here soon.
Go on.
I want a 63 or 64 Chevy, but I'm gonna make it purple.
What Chevy?
What is that shit
Caprice?
called? No. Let's see. I forget. Continue. I'll give it to you.
Corvette? Camaro?
Impala.
Oh, okay.
Impala.
Yeah, similar vibe.
Yeah. Same kind. That's why I saw it. I was like, oh, that's kind of vibe I'm gonna get. I'm actually won mine in a bet.
What was the bet?
I was drunk in Mexico with my boys, and they have money, and we was arguing about John Morant shooting percentage.
Wait, with
I remember this.
like on the court or Hunter Biden, like with a gun.
On the
I
court.
think that one's much better.
Yeah, might be more accurate in real life.
How mad do you think Hunter Biden is at that John Morant hasn't been prosecuted?
Two-tier justice system.
He just tried to throw away a gun. That's all he did.
He said he shot over 40 from 3-point, and at the time he did not. I don't know what it is now, but it was like 33 or something like that when I checked. But I had just recently checked it, and I was like, bet. He's like, there's no way. I was like, bet. We bet, and I won, and it's in the works.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we got to get the cars together. We got to introduce them.
Oh, we can go cruising, bro. That'll be fun
yeah.
as hell.
Have a play date.
Yeah.
With our cars.
Play date with the boys. Yeah.
Do you know what you're going to name it?
It's gonna be purple, so I don't. It's like Big T with his dogs, right? I'll know it when I see it. I gotta. See
you have to meet the car first.
Yeah, I gotta meet the car first
for sure. So yeah, I got the 1970 Chevy El Camino. Was very, very excited because I have wanted it since I was like 13, and I was pumped. I put the video out there, had Lowrider playing in the background. Felt good about it, and then Shane from Part of My Take, he's our graphics guy. He hit me up because he saw the video. He's like, hey, dude, can you go take some pictures with your car? Because I'm going to turn them into like animations and cartoons and stuff. I was like, fuck yeah, I'll do a car photo shoot. Mm-hmm. So I drive it like a quarter mile away next to a park where there's a little bit more sunlight because there wasn't any sunlight on my street at that time because it was getting a little bit darker. And take a couple pictures with the car. And I definitely look like the world's biggest douchebag because I'm trying to take like asshole car guy pictures, you know, like looking like a badass with my shirt off, leaning on the hood of the car. Yeah, oh yeah, hair down. Oh, yeah. I took like a bunch of those from different angles and shit, and people were walking by and they were looking. They were like, "What is this asshole doing?" Some of them were like, "Sweet car, bro." They got it. They understood. So then I get back into the car and I try to turn it on, and then the car just doesn't start.
Straight out of a movie.
Yeah, right after the photo shoot. Just didn't start at all.
So you had to
How many miles are on it?
I think like 76,000, but the odometer reading is not accurate. They had to disclaim that, but it's like a new engine in there, so it should, in theory, be good. It should be good to go.
So why didn't it start?
Well, then I don't know shit about cars. Do you know anything about cars?
I don't know a fucking lick.
Yeah, I feel like if your dad was a big car guy, then you just grow up all around cars, and it's like second nature to you.
Yeah.
But my dad was not a big car guy, so I didn't learn about cars when I was growing up, and never really been interested in cars really, except for the fact that I wanted a Chevy El Camino. So then I have to like pop the hood and start looking under the hood like I know what the fuck I'm looking for. And that presented a challenge to me because I went up to the hood and I'm trying to open the hood up And I'm like, fuck, I don't know how to pop this hood. So then I get back in the car. I'm looking around underneath the dash. Is there a hood release button? What's going on here? I'm able to get the hood off like 4 or 5 inches, but it's not popping up because there's a latch that's keeping it down. I'm on my hands and knees looking for the latch release. Just like day one stuff. I don't know how to do it. So I end up sitting in the car watching a YouTube video, how to pop a hood on a 1970 Chevrolet El Camino. And I'm like, oh, so it's deeper. It's right where I thought it was, but you got to go deeper in there. So then I popped the hood. Then I just stared at it for a while. Then I started jiggling some of the wires. What I was really hoping for, I was hoping that there would be a car guy that would pass by me on the street. Because if you're a car guy, you see a 70 El Camino SS with a hood up, you're like a moth to a flame. You're like, what's going on over here?
You were hoping to be a damsel in distress.
Yeah, no, you're not phrasing it right. That's a mischaracterization of what I was hoping for, Arian. I was hoping,
bro, you popped your hood, you had your shirt off, you had your hair down, never been under a hood before, and you was hoping some guy comes and says, "Hey, ma'am, can I help? Can I be some assistance?"
I was hoping, Arian. That's not what I was thinking at all. I was hoping
he was trying to look sexy, bro. He was trying to pop ass with the car, bro.
I was hoping that a knowledgeable older man would see me and come up and put his strong, calloused, greasy hand on my shoulder and say, "Son, you mind if I take a look?" And then I'd be like, "Yes, sir. Here are the keys." I was hoping that somebody would come by and be like, "What are you looking at there?" And then obviously if they're a car guy, then you start talking about the car. And then I would be like, "Listen, I don't really know what I'm doing right now."
You gotta figure it. I think it's the spark plugs.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if my car, yeah, it's got to have spark plugs, right?
I don't know shit about cars. It's something I know that is in most of them. All of them.
So then I got a bunch of people that sent me DMs, and thank you to everybody that reached out or like tried to send a helpful reply on Twitter. Fuck you to there are too many trolls on Twitter. The trolls came out full force. Everybody was saying there's no gas in it. That's your problem. So eventually somebody said, okay, it sounds like it's the starter. I got in touch with the mechanic that rebuilt the engine, and he was like, yeah, try jiggling these wires because it sounds like it is the starter. So maybe there's an electric problem. Jiggled all the wires. I got in there deep. Nothing. So then I finally got it towed, and I think we're getting it all fixed. It was the starter, turns out. So it could have been way more expensive than it ended up being. So I'm happy about that.
Did you learn anything about starters?
Yeah, no. I learned that there is a starter.
Nah, he's too old for that one. He's too old for that one. If something fucked up, at least you know, okay, if this fucks up again, I know what's wrong.
Yeah.
You were just like, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, the play that I have is just, you're right, being a damsel in distress and being like, I don't know anything about this big car.
Lady in red, twirl that long hair.
Yeah, spinning around my finger. I should get a sports bra. Like some people have roadside flares in case of emergency. Like pull over, put your hazards on, put these flares out, let people know that you're in trouble. I should just get a sports bra and then put my hair down and then just lean over the hood of my car and then hope that somebody mistakes me for a woman and wants to pull over and fuck me and fix my car.
I've never looked. Are you thick?
I'm a little caked up.
You got a little something back there?
Used to be. Lost my ass. I don't know. It's COVID. Something with COVID. I lost my ass during COVID. It's weird.
Didn't we all?
Yeah.
We all lost some ass during COVID.
All right, but Sexy Red's on her way back. I might even get a call today that maybe I can drive it into work tomorrow. We'll find out. But yeah, that's gonna be big for white boy summer.
That is the one thing about getting a car like that I'm kind of like loathing is I don't know shit about cars, so I know it's gonna be an older car. I'm gonna get a new engine as well, so it's gonna be like I'm gonna have to actually learn a little bit about cars because I don't look like a damsel.
No, you don't.
Not at all.
You don't. You look like Arian Foster.
A little bit.
But
maybe they'd stop for that.
Yeah.
Or Kyrie Irving. Yeah, you're right. They sent out a tweet like, yo, I'm on 59 Strand. Does anybody know anything about Chevy Impalas around the 60s?
Yeah, Texans fans only, please. Dolphins fans need not apply.
It'd make it worse.
I can see a little bit of Kyrie. You got
bruh. Sometimes I'll look at like pictures of him because somebody like I get tagged like, is this you, bro? I get a lot of those on the internet. But like a lot of times people will tag me and Kyrie photos, and I'm like, hey, yo, like I had a double take. Like that kind of does a little bit. I see it. Yeah.
I had never thought of that, but now I do see it.
Yeah. Look at. I think there's been articles written about it. If you look at like, what do they call it? Doppelganger. If you look at like Arian Foster, Kyrie, doppelganger. Like if you look at some of the side by sides, it does kind of. I ain't gonna lie. It does look like it.
Oh wow, this one. Yeah.
Let me see. Oh wow, yeah. I would say that in that picture, it's a bad. I don't think that's the best picture they could have used of you, but probably in that picture, Kyrie looks like the Arian that I know.
If your beard was a little shorter, like yeah.
So this kind of, I've got a theory, and this is a perfect time to unveil it. I've been thinking about this.
Your mom cheated on your dad.
Was Kyrie Irving replaced with a clone? He can't shoot. He can't shoot anymore. And he seems to be a way different Kyrie than we've seen in the past. He's toned down all the takes. He's not creating distractions. He's been nothing but a great teammate in terms of how he talks to the media.
I've got another theory.
Yeah.
It's called time.
I like mine better. I like clone. Which one? Which one do you think Kyrie would be more likely to believe in?
The Kyrie we know, anyway.
Yeah, the old Kyrie would be like, "Yeah, that dude's a clone."
I don't think because what kind of outlandish takes did he have? There weren't that many. I know he did think that the Earth was flat at one point, and he never really claimed it. He was more like, "I'm just saying, I'm asking questions." But I think enough people got a hold of him to where it's like, "Okay, yeah, I was probably wrong about that one." I think that one. And then what else was there? There wasn't that many, was there?
There was the documentary, the anti-Semitic documentary that he was passing around online.
What was I never saw the documentary. I saw the claims, but I don't think he's anti-Semitic.
Yeah, I thought he's gone down a few YouTube rabbit holes, and so he's like, yeah, he get into some of the dabblings of the protocols of Zion or whatever.
Okay, so I mean that's what like I know he's kind of been labeled as that, but I never really saw anything. I know the flat Earth thing was a thing, but I think that was more in jest, and he didn't really, I don't think he really like doubled down on that one. But he does. I think he gets a bad rap. I don't think he's as wild as people. He does a lot of like odd shit. Like I know he's like super like, I guess quote unquote like spiritual, and that can be levied a bunch of different ways. Like he sages the court, stuff like that. Just like odd shit, but like not that odd if you have like a hippie friend.
Yeah, he's kind of he's like very much a hippie, I think. A hippie with a YouTube account is like the best way I think to describe
premium.
Kyrie.
No doubt he has premium.
Oh, for sure. And when he was on the Nets, he just like would miss work for a while. He would just not show up. I remember Stephen A. Smith. He was like, Kyrie Irving, when I found out that Russia invaded Ukraine, I didn't think that Kyrie was going to show up for work the next day. That was probably a little bit outlandish by Stephen A. Smith, but
wow,
that's kind of the vibe that he gave off for a long time. And I think his teammates always liked him, but I don't know, weird dude, strange guy, and he seems to be very, very mellowed out right now. Have a better perspective. Again, not the Kyrie that I know.
I think he's just learning that peace is just keep all your thoughts to yourself, and that can be peaceful.
You don't have to tell everybody everything.
Googling Arian and Kyrie led me to somehow a Reddit thread about Arian's interview on Pardon My Take in June of 2020, and there are some takes on here.
Pardon my take.
Go on.
Just a lot of takes.
Oh, that's PFT's. I guess I was like, Pardon My Take. Which one? Oh, was that during
his other family?
It's my side project. Yeah.
It's your other family. Which one?
Well, so this was after like George Floyd because it was summer of 2020.
Oh, there's probably getting lambasted in there.
No, most of the people are actually going at the people who are against you.
Right.
But there's some takes in here. I don't know why that came up when I Googled Arian Foster, Kyrie Irving. But
I remember one of the big ones that people were extremely mad about when I was said, not everybody feels about the national anthem and the flag in general, like most Americans do. Like people look at it and are like indifferent, and that made a lot of people mad. I remember that. I got a lot of backlash on that one.
There's on the YouTube video has the chapters where you can see what they're talking about. There's one that says the problem with racism. So thank y'all for taking care of that.
Solved it. Are we
the problem with it?
Were we describing it? Like
I don't have the sound on.
I want to say that I've got some issues with racism.
Yeah, No, it's a problem.
Would you consider that to be more stunning or brave?
Brave.
For me and Big Cat to admit that
Brave.
that racism is a problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's pretty brave.
You know what? I remember that conversation because I think we've had that conversation since then where I conflated racism with prejudice or racism with stereotyping, where I'm like, everybody is racist. Everybody on planet Earth is racist. Like it or not, you have feelings about everything that you deal with. But I was saying it's like when you let those feelings, you can find out when those like prejudices that you have are misaligned, or they're a problem, or you're denigrating an entire group of people because of some thought that you have. Because like you can have prejudices about people that are not racist. That's what I've learned, where it's like it's not necessarily racist to acknowledge differences between people, but it can be if you get more into like hating somebody or finding like having these negative prejudices.
Ooh, you're dipping into dangerous territory there.
But everyone's different.
Well, so there's what do they call race realists? So race realist, that's a race realist talking point where they'll say it's not racist to acknowledge the IQ difference between black folks and white folks. They'll say there is a difference, right? And there is a difference, right? There's books written about this, but they don't go into the nuances of the socioeconomic issues as to why that is. And so the definition of racism, because I don't like to get caught into definitions, but if you go by the textbook definition, the textbook definition of racism is a superiority complex, right? You believe one race is inferior to another,
right? By
pure race. So if you go off of that, black folks have, and they'll say, yeah, but Asians or Ashkenazi Jews have a higher IQ than whites, so we're not racist. We don't think we're the best. We just think black folks are the lowest of the totem pole, and that by definition is racist. Because I'm black, I on average have a lower IQ, rather than saying because of the socioeconomics that black folks find them in, because of decades and decades of policy that have been implemented. That is the reason for the outcome of what the IQ test shows. So instead of talking about the nuance of that, they'll just say it is what it is. Black folks are lower IQ. That's what they'll say.
Yeah. If you don't dive any further into that and you just say it's because of race that all these things are happening, then that is just you're just doing like race science and just being like, well, genetic. You're getting into genetics and saying there's something genetically different about this group of people that makes them worse. And instead of trying to remediate anything that's going on with like the background, history, socioeconomic factors, instead of trying to remediate any of that, you're just saying, okay, this is how it is. Let's acknowledge that and then make policy according to that genetic difference, which is fucked up. There's another guy that did that.
Yeah.
Came to prominence. 1930s Germany. Ever heard of him?
This interview,
bro. I want to know what went through his head when Jesse Owens was winning all those gold medals.
Oh, that'd have been fun to be the homie sitting by Hitler, just like, who's not racist, cheating. And been like, hey, yo, that's kind of crazy though when you think about it.
He must be cheating. There's something he's cheating.
What kind of accent is that?
It's more Russian.
Like South African.
It was more Russian.
It was pretty bad. Yeah,
I can't do a German accent.
That interview was June 1st of 2020. How soon after that did y'all talk about doing this show? Because it couldn't have been much longer.
They weren't related, actually.
Yeah, they
like
weren't.
It had nothing like.
Well,
hey,
I know. I'm just saying, like, it had to be pretty soon after that because we started in like February.
I think that was Arian's second time on the show.
Yeah. I did your show, I think 2017 or 18, and then you did my show. Y'all did mine.
Yeah, and we had hung out outside of doing podcasts and stuff before. We had made acquaintances through Tommy Alter. Yeah. And so actually a little behind the scenes about what happened before that interview, because that interview happened, it was like right after George Floyd was killed, and it was like the biggest story in the world. And we were like, well, we have to talk about it, but nobody wants to hear like a couple white guys talking about it. Like, what are we going to add to it? How are we going to like discuss this at all? And Arian,
I know a black
we were thinking like, okay, well, who would be a good person to talk to that has unique perspectives, and Arian was the first name that came up. Actually, we mentioned Arian, and then either me or Big Cat was like, fuck, I really hope Arian can do it. If he can't, who should we have on? And then one of the two of us said, like, what about Chris Long? We're like, I don't know if that's necessarily like, now it's three white guys talking.
He did
about
win Lib of the Year, right?
He was Lib of the Year.
Yeah.
Y'all might have ruined my relationship with Chris Long, by the way.
You said it.
It was not intended in the way that y'all was positing it.
The clip was dirty.
Clip was dirty. Maddie ain't here. She's over flirting on the beach. But Mac, y'all be intentionally put me out to dry with these clips.
No.
Nah, y'all know it.
That's not true. That's not. You said it. You said it.
I said I didn't.
No, because we clipped the whole clip included you saying, like, no, I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like that. And then Big T and PFT were like, whoa, I can't believe you just said that. So,
but that's what they're gonna remember, the gas. You know what I mean?
We need to get Chris on the show in person. Next time you're doing it live here, we'll see if we can arrange some sort of visit from Chris. Bury the hatchet, because I think you guys would get along very well.
No, we get along. I'm kind of joking.
Also, you had an afro in 2020. I've never seen your hair like that.
Yeah, that's right before I decided to lock it up.
Before we get to Freud, just a couple other quick things. There's a jury in the United States that has ruled that Chiquita Bananas is liable.
I saw this, bro. My bad. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's crazy. It's wild. So we were talking about coups the other day, right? And when it comes to coups, what, especially in South America, Central America, what's the one thing that like tied all of them together? It was multinational companies that were pissed off about losing a lot of money that asked the United States government to step in and organize a coup, overthrow the government to keep the money flowing. Chiquita Bananas has been held liable for 8 killings carried out by a right-wing paramilitary group that the company helped finance in a banana-growing region of Colombia during the decades-long internal conflict. So the jury ordered the banana producer to pay $38.3 million to make up for these killings, because there was a paramilitary group called the United Self-Defense Funds of Colombia that Chiquita bankrolled from 1997 to 2004. So the banana company had a militia that they were paying off in Colombia at the time to try to overthrow the government because the fruit supply was getting fucked up.
Well, Chiquita is, correct me if I'm wrong, they are what used to be was it United Fruit Company or whatever that was?
Yeah, United Fruit Company.
And they had a bunch of coup-related incidents.
Yep. This is Banana Republic stuff.
Yeah.
So the banana company was financing the opposition. They were called the United Self-Defense Forces of Colombia. That's a great name for just a militia.
Say that again, United Self-Defense Forces?
Yeah, United Self-Defense Forces of Colombia. That is
USDF?
That is a freedom fighter name.
Yeah. That's a strong acronym, too.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It is a good acronym because it's got U.S. right in there.
Yep.
So then you think to yourself, wait, maybe they're the good guys. They have U.S. in there.
U.S. Defense Forces could have been.
Yeah.
Could have been us.
What about the USSF? United States Soccer Federation.
Oh, yeah, we hate them.
Yeah, hate them. They're co-opting the name U.S. in their name, but not the U.S. Defense Forces of Colombia.
Right.
But yeah, so the banana company is held liable. They're going to have to pay about $40 million to the families of people that were killed. Pretty crazy.
Just wild to think about, like some like wholesome banana company that you're just going to the store, buying bananas, and they're blood bananas.
Yeah. If you bought bananas between 1997 and 2004, you are complicit.
Damn. Repent.
You know what? I'm not eating fruit or vegetables anymore because you never know. You never know where that money's going. There's another thing that I wanted to touch upon real quick. We've been hearing a lot about sperm motility and how fertility rates and sperm isn't as good as it used to be.
Have we?
Yeah. Okay. Sperm has been nerfed. The swimmers aren't swimming as strong. And that's what a lot of these there's synthesized studies. I don't know the difference between synthesized and actual like real hardcore studies are. But anyways, the data has been synthesized in a couple of reports saying that that sperm counts are diminishing. There's a new study out from Denmark, and it says that there's no evidence that they can find that sperm counts are going down. So I guess congratulations, Denmark people have great cum. I don't know, but it's been a broad topic online. I saw that. I was like, okay, well, I guess the jury's still out on whether or not cum's good anymore.
I haven't, had any conversations with the homies and see how they were shooting, but I have seen no ill effects. My shit is, I got Olympic level swimmers.
Michael Phelps.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of them.
Living in your balls.
They need to calm down.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting thing if we did a sperm Olympics at Barstool Sports. Just see
how would that go about?
Who had the fastest sperm? The strongest sperm.
So like, how do you gauge this?
You can take your cum to a lab and then they analyze it and they're like, yeah, you've got X percentage of your sperm are alive and swimming, and they watch how fast they die, and then that's how they tell how good your sperm is.
That's one of the weirder things ever. Like having to give I've never done it. Have you ever done it? Given a sample of sperm?
No,
I've never done it. That would be an awkward Green Mile walk to the room where you have to go. You have to go rub one out, and you come back, and everybody knows what you just did. That's wild. That's a wild, awkward moment.
They probably have a room. It's like, this is the jack off room.
Yeah, they probably have like I was thinking like back in the day, they used to have like DVDs and magazines and shit, but now there's like, the Wi-Fi's code is the Wi-Fi code.
Yeah, they got real strong Wi-Fi in that room, and that's where the router is. Because you can't go into the jack off room with your phone, and then you can't get a video to load.
And then what do you put? Is it a couch? Is it one of those like hospital or dentist chairs, or is it like what is the furniture that you're sitting on?
Yeah, do they change the sheets after every session, or how does that work? Or is it a stand up situation?
That would be even wilder. Like you sitting there just with your pants down.
Yeah, I need to know about this. If you work in a fertility clinic, please tell me what just the logistics of it are.
Jesus,
and then do you have
to mop, because surely something's gonna get on the floor that they don't know. Like you can't get all of it. Can you? I don't know.
Do you have to hand it to somebody when you're done?
Yeah, I always find it weird because I've given urine samples before, and that's always wild to me. Like I got to pee in this cup, and then you just have to take it.
Mm-hmm.
That's always been weird to me, but I guess we're adults.
I brought in a feces sample from Blake a couple months ago. I had to take that to the vet. They wanted to check him out. And so you have to like get his poop, and I put it in like this old Tupperware thing that I had, and I brought it in and I handed it to the lady, and she was like, okay, thank you very much. She's like, would you like this back later? And I was like, no, absolutely not.
They didn't give you anything to put it in?
No,
you just used your own thing?
No, they sent me like a follow-up. I don't know if they told me in the appointment where they said, okay, bring in a poop sample next time, or if they sent me a text or an email being like, for this appointment, please provide a stool sample.
So it was after the fact.
It might have been after the fact, but no, they didn't give me anything.
It's crazy.
And so I just brought it in a Tupperware, and then she asked me if I wanted it back, and I said no, and then I stopped. I was like, does anybody ever ask for it back?
Yeah.
And she's like,
yeah, that's actually my favorite container.
She's like, yeah, you'd be surprised.
What?
Yeah. She said like half the people ask for it back.
That's crazy.
That actually checks out, bro. We used to have a saying like, can't eat at everybody's house. Motherfuckers is weird, dog. People are not as sanitary as you'd think.
Yeah. I mean, in my mind, it was like, okay, well, this is gone. Because if I were to ever use it again, every time I'd look at it, I'd just be thinking about Blake's poop.
Right.
Yeah.
But I am very interested to know about the fertility thing. So tell me what the logistics of that are. Is it? They might still be on DVDs.
Nah, there's no way.
I wonder what the assortment back in the day when they had DVDs, and probably before that they had like videotapes. What was the assortment like? Did they have? Because we all don't enjoy the same things.
definitely had some ebony and ivory clashes in there for sure.
Did they?
Where that's always weird. Like when we was growing up, bro, I used to find porn magazines in the most obscure places, like, and we used to hide them like in the backs of buildings and under bushes and shit like that. Did you have the same experience?
Yeah.
What was that?
Found one on a baseball field one time.
They were just around, and we used to be like, "Hey, there's one over here. Y'all want to go check it out?" Yeah, and then we'd all would gather around.
It was I think it was other kids that would stash them places.
That would make sense, actually.
Like pay it forward.
These are the communal experiences we've lost out on in society now.
True.
Oh yeah, you probably didn't have this as a. You
Oh,
probably
I didn't even mean that. I just meant society's going to nobody talks to each other anymore. You know, it's all on a screen.
Yeah,
True.
It's sad. It's
So
sad.
what was your experience like growing up watching or seeing porn? Like, did you have the magazine experience or did you have the?
No, but I'm also not answering that. But no, there were no magazines.
Yeah.
I just wonder if they sent anybody out, like if there was low man on the totem pole at the sperm clinic that was like, hey, we need to get more porn. Go to the store, get a good selection. Because if you had magazines, you probably had to change those out pretty frequently, right? Pages get stuck together.
Well, just the sanitary
gross.
aspect of it would probably not be the best.
Yeah. I'm coming up with some ideas right now for like reimagining the fertility experience.
You want to open an old school?
No, like
fertility
a
clinic?
throwback one?
Yeah.
What would a throwback one be?
What you're describing?
No, but like real throwback, like to the 1800s.
I don't think the technology existed to have those.
A raunchy letter. A picture of a calf.
There are some freaky letters that like historical figures have written.
Yeah.
They were sexting. They did their best.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyways, let's get into Freud. Let's talk about Sigmund Freud.
Not wholly unrelated from that topic.
Not unrelated at all. Dude loves sex. Love thinking about sex.
Shout out to the boy.
Kind of a pervert. But Sigmund Freud, maybe the most influential person in modern psychology, I think you could say. He was born May 6, 1856. He was not wealthy growing up. His parents rented a room that was above a blacksmith shop in Freiburg. I think that I'm pronouncing that right. It's a small town that's about 50 miles north of Vienna. And he, from a young age, he had a big sense of confidence and always felt like he was going to change the world. He said, I recall an anecdote I often heard repeated in my childhood. At the time of my birth, an old peasant woman had prophesied to my proud mother that with her firstborn child, she brought a great man into the world. So just like a homeless person told his mom, like, hey, that baby, that's going to be a good baby. And so she just hung on to that, told him that, and then he grew up with the sense that he was going to do something great or something very important. It's kind of like when that homeless guy told Jimmy Haslam to draft Johnny Manziel.
I feel like I remember hearing that story, but you saying it to me now, I don't remember the details of it.
There's a homeless. I think it was Jimmy Haslam. It was whoever was owning or running the Browns at the time.
That's something Jimmy Haslam would do.
And they were doing their due diligence before the draft, and then there was just some random person on the street that stopped them and said, you got to draft Johnny.
I wonder if a homeless guy told him to hire Greg Schiano, too.
Maybe. Or Condoleezza Rice.
Well, he didn't try to do that one.
That wasn't him?
Well, I don't think they were ever seriously trying to do it.
That's still my favorite sports story of all time, when the Browns were considering Condoleezza Rice. So Freud's dad, Jacob, was 40 when Freud was born, 20 years older than Freud's mother, Amelie. Yeah, I'm starting to connect some dots here. Like, Freud was real big on the Oedipus complex, that every man wants to kill their father and marry their mother.
And then he just was like, oh, everybody, this is everybody.
Yeah.
Y'all do it too.
His mom was really young and his dad was really old. I think maybe he had a thing for his mom. Anyways, Freud's mother, Amelie, was 20 years younger than his dad. The patriarch of a large family. His father had already been married twice, with the children of his first marriage older than Amelie, his wife. That was Freud's mom. So I'm doing more dot connecting. Freud had 2 stepmoms, right? I guess they'd be stepmoms, kind of. Not a stepmom. Dad's ex-wife. 2 of those in his life.
And an ex-mom.
2
pre-mom.
Pre-moms. He had 2 pre-moms. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Freud was attracted to at least one of them. The dynamics of his extended family left their impression on Freud in his first years of life. One of the sons from the first marriage was flirtatious with Freud's own mother. So there was a lot of intergenerational complexity. He's a boy who grew up with his relationship curiosity at a high pitch. And he recalled his early years by saying, "Of one thing I'm certain, deep within me, covered over, there still lives that happy child from Freiburg, the first son of a youthful mother who had received the first indelible impressions from this air, from this soil." Then when Freud was 3, things switched up a little bit. In 1859, his dad's business failed. Freud left that town forever. At about 4 years old, he started developing fractured memories of the traumatic leave that he had, the gas lamps at the train station, which reminded him of souls burning in hell, and a furtive glimpse of his mother nude. He was leaving behind everything he knew and loved, his aunts, uncles, nephews, playmates, all gone for the rest of his life. Freud was haunted by the sense of something that he lost. "I have never got over the longing for my old home," is what he said. So one of the only memories that he has is of the place he was born was the time that he saw his mother naked.
That explains some of his theories.
Pretty strange. So then his dad went bankrupt, moved the family to Vienna. They lived in what was once the Jewish ghetto, moving from apartment to apartment 6 times, 6 moves in 15 years. His dad never found a full-time job again. And until the day he died, he depended on other relatives to take care of him. His dad was a dubious person. No one knows how he made a living. It sounds like his dad was a hustler.
Yeah, entrepreneur.
His dad was just grifting around. CEO of life.
Couldn't be tied down.
Graduated from the School of Hard Knocks. So he didn't have any particular talents or any connections. He was just kind of like a former businessman that didn't really do anything well. So he was kind of floated by relatives. Kind of a mooch. Freud said, "A thing I remember from my boyhood is that when wild horses on the pampas have been once lassoed, they retain a certain nervousness for life. In the same way, I once knew helpless poverty and have a constant fear of it." So he was always very afraid of going broke again because he grew up in it. When I was
yeah, he's trying to get to that bag.
Yeah,
that's real.
That is real. So he was terrified of being poor because he grew up poor. So he was like, "No, I'm not gonna live that lifestyle when I grow up." When I was a young man, my father said, "I went for a walk one Saturday. I was well dressed and had a new fur cap on my head. A Christian came up to me and with a single blow knocked off my cap into the mud and shouted, 'Jew.' And what did you do?" I asked. I picked up my cap and I went upon my way. So these early impressions stick with him. He was hoping that his dad would have stepped in for him. I think just right off the bat, it seems like a lot of signs are pointing to the fact that Freud hated his dad, wanted to fuck his mom.
Well, I didn't think that was even disputed. You don't have these kinds of theories and not have those ideas yourself. You don't come to those conclusions of others without having them yourself.
It probably helped him get started with some of them, yes.
Like, how do you even pioneer the theory that, like, yeah, everybody wants to fuck their mom? Like right? Yeah. Like, y'all know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you get this, right?
Like, you don't come up with that just out of thin air.
Do you guys think there's any truth to what he's saying? Like, not the fact you want to have sex with your mom, but like the old adage, everybody marries their mother, meaning like there's some kind of attraction that is similar to the woman that raised them?
I think a lot of people find comfort in the same type of people that they're used to being around. So right. If you grow up in a house with women and your idea of, okay, this is what a woman is, if your mom was a stay-at-home mom or if she was, doesn't matter, like a businesswoman, that's your impression from a very young age of what a woman is and what a woman does.
Right.
And so there's probably it's easier for you to relate to somebody that has that same lifestyle or temperament or career path.
Right.
I think there's probably some truth to that. But like people that end up marrying people that look like their parents, does that? I can't think of any real good examples.
Well, I think you may that may be the case, but I think more like it's like the sentiment of the character that you admire. Right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the template to how I raise my daughters, right? Because I want they say that women, and maybe you back this up, Mac, but like women's like the first person that they fall in love with is their father, right? That's the first man that they actually love. And so like how I view that, as I see the admiration for my daughter start to grow of me, I raise my level of expectations, and so I kind of like date them in a sense like I show you how you're supposed to treat a woman. I take them out on dates. We go to dinner dates, stuff like that. Nothing like with the implications of like the Oedipus complex and the inverse, but more so just like you kind of show them how you're supposed to treat a woman, right? And how they're supposed to be treated. And then they end up seeing their value so that they don't end up seeking it from another man and they have that complex of like codependency. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. It's like you're establishing like almost a role model of this is how you deserve to be treated.
Yeah. So I do think there's a certain kernel of truth to what the premise of what he's saying. Now the obvious of like if you actually have those desires, like that's problematic. But as far as like, I think we all kind of are creatures of habit, and so if you have the habit of being, having a good, strong foundation and getting the door open for you, stuff like that, you have a certain level of expectations of how, okay, if somebody cares for you, this is how they treat you.
Mm-hmm. Freud said, I have found that people who know that they are preferred or favored by their mothers give evidence in their lives of a peculiar self-reliance and an unshakable optimism, which often bring actual success to their possessors. I can see what he's saying with that, where if your mom is like, you're my favorite, then you're going to grow up and maybe be like an entitled brat.
Mm.
Like if you're told that you're special from being a kid, like you're going to change the world, you're going to change the world. You are like very, very special, which is good to tell kids that they're special. But if you give them like a sense of self-centeredness of you're the most important thing in the world, don't ever let anybody tell you that you're not the most important thing going. There's like a slippery slope that could take you into just having a huge ego.
Well, that's only children.
Yeah.
Like I feel like most people say that about kids who don't have any siblings.
Yeah, you're the constant focus of your parents' attention, so then you think that you should be the constant focus of everyone's attention.
Right.
That sort of thing.
Kanye.
Yeah. Only child?
Yep. And he constantly tells like stories about how his mom used to tell him like how special he was, and don't ever let anybody tell you otherwise. And to a certain extent, she was correct, but he didn't know how to turn that shit off.
Yeah.
Several really good songs, though.
Oh, he's an artistic genius.
Yeah, I mean, Donda West was right.
Okay.
You could have 2 hours of nonstop just Kanye absolute bangers.
Easily.
I would say more than that.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen his drawings?
No, is he good?
I don't think so.
Bruh, this man, look up Kanye's drawings.
You know who else got really into art?
Yeah, that's true.
Fucking
And he's a fan.
Big fan. Well, he loves him.
Yeah, he loves him.
That's what he said.
I know it's problematic, but you should look at his paintings.
Kanye, you don't mean that. I do.
Yeah, no, I do. I love Hitler. Yeah. Not going to say what kind of doctor he was. Freud also said, if a man has been his mother's undisputed darling, he retains throughout life triumphant feelings. This is altogether the most perfect, the most free from ambivalence of all human relationships. So he loved his mom. His mom definitely told him he was special, but he also didn't want to look too deeply into his relationship with his mom. He just preferred to think of it as like beautiful. She loved me. She cared for me. I was very special to her, but I'm not really going to dig into it any deeper than that. He would have lunch weekly with his mom, but he'd get stomach aches every time that he'd eat lunch with his mom. Maybe she was trying to poison him. Maybe it's one of those things where, was that Munchausen's by proxy?
Yeah.
Where you try to make somebody sick around you so that they depend on you all the time?
Gypsy Rose.
Gypsy Rose. How's she doing?
It was during the show, so I didn't hear the sound, but she apparently put up an Instagram story today that's really weird, and people were talking about it.
Yeah, I saw that too. She's also like back with her ex.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think maybe they're separated, or I don't know if they're fully divorced yet from the guy that she married while she was in prison. And now she's back with the previous guy that she was with in prison.
Wait, is she Oedipus? Is that the same for women? Like when a woman wants to kill her mom, or does she want to kill her dad and marry her mom too? It's got to be the opposite, right? Like the
yeah,
Oedipus
no,
complex,
it is opposite. I forget the name of it's in here somewhere. I'll find it.
So yeah, she's Oedipus. So yeah, they'd go on dates, have lunch all the time.
The Electra complex is women.
That's such a hotter name for it.
I mean, it evokes Carmen.
Yeah, Electra. You're right. That's exactly where my brain went. I just hear Electra and I think, yeah, boobs.
That's a strong name. Like Carmen Electra, you hear Electra now, you automatically.
Yep. So Freud was always worried about his poor health, and he was afraid that he was going to die before his mom. And so he couldn't even bear to think about what it would be like if his mom died before he did. Kind of like a reverse of what usually happens, where your parents just do not want to outlive you as a child. So he created this image of his mom that didn't necessarily correspond to reality, because he idolized his mom, and he didn't really know that much about her besides what their relationship was like, back and forth. And then he got married in 1877. He married a 21-year-old, and she wanted to have him devote his entire life to science. So Freud was 26. He committed to lab science, and then he quit because, wait, hang on, cut that part out real quick. This was written really, really strangely. How does this go? Got it. Okay. Yeah, I misread it. Okay, so in 1877, I'll clap back in. In 1877, Freud was 21 years old, and he wanted to be a scientist. He became committed to lab science, but then he fell deep into it, got whipped, met a girlfriend when he was 26, and then he's like, you know what? Fuck science. I found my calling, and that's just basically to be married to you. And she was 21 years old at the time. She was peeling an apple, and Freud saw her. And after that, he would send her roses every day. He would call her princess. Sounds a little bit pressed to me. And then
little simpy.
Yeah, big time simp. So he was like, my mom tells me I'm going to save the entire world. I'm going to be special, so I'm going to be a scientist to save the world. Wait, that chick over there with the apple, she's pretty hot. So I'm going to quit my job and just like send her flowers and get on my knees for her every single day.
Damn.
Yeah. So he quit science for a time. He would write letters to her. Here's an example of his love letter to his soon-to-be wife. My sweet girl, it only pains me to think I should be so powerless to prove my love for you. In front of me in my apparatus sizzle the gas bubbles from which I have to filter. The whole thing spells resignation, waiting. I think that just means that he's horny. What are the gas bubbles that
I think this guy existed in a constant state of horniness.
I think so. In front of me in my apparatus sizzle the gas bubbles which I have to filter. I think that means
that
he's talking about, he's like, I got a boner and now I got to jack off because I'm thinking about you.
Yeah, I thought the gas bubbles were emissions.
In front of me in my apparatus sizzle the gas bubbles which I have to filter.
Yeah, that's jizz.
He's like, I got a boner and I got to come.
Maybe the most poetic way to talk about ejaculation. He's cooking right now.
The gas bubble, you can't say gas bubbles.
It's cooking.
You got to say like the
way that lava flows out of an active volcano at the basin.
You got to go with the spirit of the perfume of love instead of gas bubbles.
Okay.
Inside of my apparatus, there is a sweet perfume of love, which I have to filter.
Okay, let's rewrite Freud.
Okay, so he also said, "My precious, most beloved girl, I knew it was only after you had gone that I would realize the full extent of my happiness. I still cannot grasp it, and if that sweet little picture were not lying in front of me, I would think it was all a beguiling dream." He was definitely jacking off looking at the picture too.
No question.
Yeah, dude loved to sext.
Wait, was they already together?
They had just they were dating for that 2-month period, but apparently he wrote a bunch of letters to her in that 2-month period. So
yes, I guess that is a little creepy.
So Freud was desperate to marry this woman, and he wasn't really making any money doing science. So 6 months after he met her, he quit science for the woman he loved, and he decided to become a doctor instead of a scientist. There are many people that tell him you'll never be a doctor. You need to quit this. But Freud spent 3 years at Vienna General Hospital. He tried to be a surgeon. He tried psychiatry.
You know who else went to school in Austria?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. He barely saw his girlfriend. She moved away. She moved to Hamburg in northern Germany. So he would start reading Shakespeare really late into the night, and every day he would write her a letter. He called her Marty, even though her name was Martha.
Don't like that.
Not a big fan. My beloved Marty, these difficult times will not discourage me. I know how sweet you are, how you can turn a house into a paradise. They were in love. He was feeling love for the first time. He was obsessed with her. She wrote back, "My beloved sweet Siggy. Why can't we be together?"
That's a fire nickname.
Sweet Siggy?
Siggy.
Sig Sauer. I could not sleep half the night. Your dear noble image was before me, and my longing for you was so intense. I want to be the way you want me to be. Just love me a little. You kiss so wonderfully. Cover me with love. So after 4 years, Freud was 30, finally married her. And then they fucked a lot. They got it on big time. Martha became the ideal wife that Freud wanted. She was staying at home. She was dealing with family. He does look like Harrison Butker. I'm looking at at their wedding photo. They don't look particularly happy to be getting married to each other. It's just kind of like, okay.
Well, you couldn't smile back then.
You weren't allowed to?
Is it a photograph?
Yeah.
The first cameras, it took like 15 minutes to take the picture. So you couldn't smile for that long. So that's why nobody smiled.
That changes everything.
Yeah.
You just blew my mind, Big T.
You had to sit there for a while.
I thought that everyone was just pissed off all the time.
No. I'm sure some of them were, but that's not why they don't smile.
Life was pretty shitty back then, dog. I mean, granted, they didn't know any better. Life was pretty trash back then, dog. Everybody was musty.
Yeah.
No GPS. Shit was trash.
That's the first thing you think of is GPS?
Dude, you didn't grow up in a world without GPS, Big T.
I remember MapQuest. MapQuest was a trip.
You were a youngin', though. You didn't have to navigate this world with no Australian Siri telling you where to go.
All right, one's got to go. GPS, air conditioning.
Oh.
I guess the internet as a whole, even though you kind of need the internet for GPS, but
toilets.
Okay, one's got to go toilets, AC, or
GPS.
One got to go?
I think this is easy.
I think that one's GPS.
Yeah.
You're not getting rid of toilets, are you?
I'm thinking about toilets.
No, don't get rid of toilets.
Okay,
that's crazy.
When you say toilets, am I getting rid of the entire sewage system?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to shit in a hole in the ground.
The whole thing.
Yeah, okay,
stalls,
well, then
bathroom stalls.
I thought we was like maybe we could all just, boo-boo and tross or something like that. But if we getting rid of the system, that would cause massive funk across the entire city, every state. It would be disgusting. Yeah,
shit used to literally just flow down the streets.
Yeah. We got to go GPS. Damn. So convenient, though.
Like brownstones in New York City, that's why they're elevated. That's why they have steps up.
Jesus.
So there wasn't shit on your front door.
So nasty. Yeah, life was ass back then.
It was ass. It was big ass. So they got married, Freud and Marty, and then they fucked a lot, had 6 kids, and he got upset because they lost all the spark in their relationship because they were looking after 6 kids, which takes a lot of time off your hands. Where
psychologists couldn't predict that one, huh?
No, 6 kids, not a lot of time, not a lot of empty hands to be writing love letters to each other for. Just basically doing chores all the time if you got 6 kids. But every Sunday, the family would assemble in the Freud household. He would come out at 12 o'clock, and his physical contact was you did like this. You put your 2 fingers and you squeeze the child's cheeks, which was a sign of affection. You didn't hug or anything like that. You just pinched each other's cheeks. So he was in charge of the family, didn't show any affection to anybody. And Freud said, now I have no idea where I stand. The expectation of eternal fame was so beautiful. Certain wealth, travels, lifting the children above the severe worries that robbed me of my youth. Everything depended upon whether or not hysteria would come out right. And then Freud's dad died in 1896. And that affected him quite a bit, even though they didn't have what you would call like a loving relationship. Because he kind of resented his dad a little bit, but the death of his dad fucked him up a little bit. So through self-analysis, Freud saw the truth about his relationship with his parents. He realized that his dad was innocent. He came to realize that as a boy, he wanted to marry his mother. He saw his father as a rival for her love. Freud understood his own wishes to be universal among all boys in all cultures. That's great. That's great copium right there. That is awesome. He was like, you know what? Okay, after doing, and credit to him for doing some like deep, painful introspection about his own mind. And he was like, I've always wanted to bone my mom and kill my dad so that he would stop boning my mom so that I could bone her. You know what? This is very normal. This is everyone. Everyone does this. Everyone. Okay. All right. Yeah.
I'm go with that.
Let's write a book. This is
I cracked the fucking code.
This is universal. You feel this. Everyone's like, I don't know. Like when he first debuted the Oedipus complex, you think he was nervous at all? He was like, boy, I sure hope that they all agree with me.
I mean, his sexy mom probably gave him the confidence to think that he was correct.
Yeah, he had to think this was normal.
Yeah. Show of hands. He's like at a press conference. Okay.
He had no boys he could run this by. Say, fam, you ever look at your mom's like, you know, would you, you know?
Yeah.
Did y'all ever have something that you thought was normal and then found out it completely was not?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure. I'm trying to think, though.
I thought, because I grew up around people that was broke, and I was broke. I thought everybody was broke. And the first time I went to I think I may have told the story before, but I went to my man's house, and his mom was like, "Sweetie, are you hungry?" I was like, "Yeah, I could eat." She's like, "Okay, we'll just grab you something from the pantry." I was like, "What is a pantry?" She's like, "You don't know what a pantry is?" I was like, "No, what is a pantry?" She's like, "Open that door." I opened the door, and it was just all snacks and food and canned food, and I was like, y'all have a room for food? There's a room for food. She's like, yes. Oh my God. And I was like, this is fucking, I stayed in that bitch. And I always went to his house. They had all kinds of zebra cakes, Twinkies, crazy. Never saw nothing like it before in my life. And I was like, I thought everybody was just like, you ate what your parents gave you for dinner. I didn't know that you had options throughout the day. That was wild.
Yeah, you got all the good snacks.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Do you think it's good, like if you're having a family?
And then they had a freezer. Sorry, bro. They had a freezer in the garage that had frozen food. And then by the frozen food freezer, there was another fridge, all drinks, Capri Suns, Gatorades. And I was just like, yo, what the fuck is this?
The all-drink fridge is a power move. My grandma had one, and it was just stock. Every Coke, Diet Coke, Coke Zero, Sprite, and waters were in there at all times. It was goated.
To this day, I don't even have one. And it's like, it just was not part of that's just a wild move to me. That's just like wild.
I would love to have a garage fridge with just drinks. That's always been a goal of mine.
I think you can get there.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm ever able to buy a home.
Or get beer.
I don't do beer anymore.
You're off beer?
Yeah, I'm donezo.
Quit
Ever
beer?
again.
So you're really not gonna ever drink again?
We'll bring you back.
I didn't like drinking before that, so I'm not like trying to do it.
What a beautiful time we had, Big T.
Mm-hmm.
It was beautiful.
It was fun.
Yeah. So Freud, he writes this book, and it's basically after the death of his dad. He said it's a portion of my own self-analysis, my reaction to my father's death, that is to say the most important event, the most poignant loss of a man's life. It's called The Interpretation of Dreams. And he wrote it. It was a self-analysis of really how he felt about his parents and also of his own dreams. And it made Freud one of the most revered minds of his time. And it made him more famous than anybody in his family could have ever imagined. But it was basically talking about his own dreams and psychoanalyzing his relationship with his parents. So he was the founder of psychoanalysis.
Real quick.
Yep.
Hella off topic, but I want y'all's opinion on this. Or it's twofold. Tell me what you think your dreams are, and then tell me what you would like them to be. Because I've thought about this my entire life.
Ooh, dreams?
Yeah, so I'll tell you what mine is, and I want to hear y'all's.
Okay.
I think my dreams are just like random neurons firing of thoughts collected in a movie that I make up when I'm resting. This is what I feel like it is. What I hope that it is like either recreations or actually like other lives that I've lived or am living in the moment. That's what I hope it is.
But in my dreams, I'm always me. So
I say
like,
other lives, like the multiverse theory. You know what I mean? Like me doing other shit in other multiverse versions of myself. That's what I hope it is.
I think I have exclusively bad dreams. I have either I have dreams exceeding rarely, but when I do, I'm always dying every single time.
Those are the ones you remember.
If I have good dreams, I've never known about it.
You've never had a good woke up and be like, that would have been amazing if that was true.
No, exclusively bad.
That's why we got to get you to take some mushrooms. You'll have some great dreams.
It's amazing.
I don't like having dreams. I want to just wake up having slept well.
My man wants to live click.
You want to wake up just feeling good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the dreams are a screensaver that your brain puts on.
Okay.
While the creator of the multiverse uploads tomorrow's program into your own brain.
That's beautifully put. That's amazing.
Then you open up your eyes and the program starts. The show starts again.
And so you're operating under the coding of the creator.
Yeah, I'm basically just in a movie right now.
Love to see it.
I don't actually know if that's true or not, but it'd be fun to think about.
Yeah.
Big T. I just realized, this is no joke. I'm 100% serious. Big T was in my dream last night.
What was he wearing?
I dreamt about Big T.
Yeah, let's hear about this.
You want to psychoanalyze this?
Well, I'm curious what was happening.
So I'm a big believer in not talking about your dreams because nobody really cares about your dreams but you.
I care now.
But since you're in this room, maybe we can psychoanalyze this dream, or at least what I remember about it. Okay. We were next to an ocean somewhere. I don't know. I don't think we're on the beach. I think it was a boardwalk.
I have a theory already, but continue.
Okay. It was on a boardwalk someplace close to an ocean. It was nearby. Your wife was there.
Interesting.
Big T doesn't have a wife.
Interesting.
And Big T and I were cutting up. We were having a good time.
Love to hear that.
We had some sort of activity. It was maybe some sort of game that we were playing. Maybe it was cards, something like that. I don't know. We were engaging in some sort of recreational game. And then Big T's wife came up to me and she looks at me and she goes, "You be quiet." And then she tells Big T, "You're not to talk to that man." And that's all I remember from the dream.
What?
Your bitch wife is getting in between our relationship, Big T.
So that adds an interesting element. My working theory before that was you were jealous that you weren't in San Diego.
Oh.
You've heard all of us talking about being in San Diego, going to the beach, having fun. You weren't there.
Yeah, that might be it.
But what you mentioned at the end introduced an interesting wrinkle. I'm not sure how to parse that, but
Yeah. She was good looking.
okay. Clutch.
Yeah. Nice work, Dream T.
Love that. But yeah, the beach part, I think, is that you've heard us talk about how much fun we had.
Yeah.
You're like, man, really wish I wasn't with my other family doing things of that nature.
Yeah.
Wish I was with my day ones, you know?
Yep, that's true. That's true. I do feel guilty about that. I would have gotten you so much more drunk. You would have puked so much more if I was there.
I don't think so.
So, yeah, the subconscious is interesting. Sometimes there's probably some truth to it. But my big recurring dream that I do have, I dream like once a month, maybe once every couple months, where my teeth are falling out.
I've had that one before.
Yeah, it's one of the most common recurring dreams because I thought I was the only one that did it, and then I found out later. Well, no, it's like top 3 recurring dream, and
no pants.
No pants.
Yeah, I have no pants on.
In my bad dreams, I'm always being chased by someone about to kill me, and for some reason, I always have a backpack on that's heavy as shit. And it's like I'm not the fastest guy to begin with, and then you put a backpack on me, and it's like this is a load of horse shit.
Yeah.
But then I always wake up right before I die, so that's good.
Is that not one of the best feelings? Because I've had multiple dreams where I have like murdered somebody or done something insane enough to where like I'm in trouble and I'm about to do life in prison, and then I wake up like, oh shit, that wasn't real.
The feeling of relief is crazy.
One of the best feelings that there is, waking up knowing you haven't killed anybody.
Can't wait to go to work.
Can't wait to do the things that I was gonna do lawfully.
That's a great optimistic way to look at life, because you get accustomed to the nice things that you have and everything that's good about your life, and you can't picture yourself like, what if I was, born in a country that's undergoing like a civil war and you don't know where you're going to get your next meal from, and how lucky are we to live in the United States at this time when we're significantly more prosperous than almost any other civilization ever. So lucky. But you can tell yourself that. But then when you dream it and you think about being in a bad situation, then it really hits you when you wake up. It makes you a little bit more grateful.
Have you ever been sleeping by your significant other and she had a dream that you cheated on her and she wakes up like pissed?
I have had that situation.
Those are funny conversations. You're like, I didn't do it, bro. Like, get off my...
I remember, I think this was like right after college, and I woke up and she was just staring at me. And I was like, oh fuck, what did I do last night? I think we'd maybe like been out partying or something like that. I was like, oh shit, I've done, the look. I'm like, ah, shit, what's going on? She's like, I dreamt that you fell for somebody else. I was like, I didn't. And she's like, it was very hurtful. I was like, I'm sorry. I don't know if I should say I'm sorry. Like I feel
you shouldn't. You should stand your ground.
I feel bad that I had that.
You should say that's not real.
That's in your own head. That's you.
You should say you're offended that this happened that she made up.
Yeah, that's a good point. You think so little of me,
right? That
you think I would step out on you.
Yeah, you got to flip the script.
Yeah, that's a good point. That would really, start to fuck with people. There have been a couple dreams where there might be a female celebrity involved. Different female celebrities, different times, and I'm about to seal the deal. Things are looking real good. And then in the back of my head, I start to think to myself, there's no chance in hell this woman would ever sleep with you. This has to be a dream. And then I wake myself up because I'm in my dream state. I'm still able to recognize that, I'll just say, Miley Cyrus wouldn't have sex with me. And then I wake up and I'm like, fuck, why can't you just be more delusional when you're asleep?
I got Sigmund Freud's confidence. I've had dreams of I was like this close to being with Rihanna. That one happens. I've had that at least 5 times where like me and her are a thing.
Yeah.
It's the complete opposite of waking up knowing you haven't killed anybody. I was kind of disappointed when I woke up like, God, that isn't real.
But
that's my dream, John.
But do you tell yourself like this isn't real because this is Rihanna, and then you wake up before?
I wake up and just think, our paths didn't cross.
Mm-hmm. It could have been. Yeah,
could have happened, man.
Arian has been teasing us for 3 years about this celebrity that he hooked up with once, and he's never said who it was.
Yeah, I can't tell you that.
Beyonce.
I feel like we're good pals, and
What?
he's never
Even
never
off
told me.
air?
You said
No,
what?
he won't. He
Even
won't tell
off
me.
air?
Nah, it's just I don't kiss and tell. I'm a gentleman.
Meg Ryan.
No.
Rihanna was actually one of my original guesses.
Jennifer Lopez.
I would, man. If it was, that would. I'm not sure I could hold that one in.
Uh,
I'm not going to tell you, even if you guess it.
if I guess it, I'll be able to read you like a book. Katy Perry.
No.
What race?
No.
I feel like, now let's psychoanalyze that. I think that means it's not white, because if it was white, he'd say, yeah, white. There's so many white women. I mean, how could you ever guess? I feel like it's a race that narrows it down.
Interesting theory.
I think it might be a white woman.
No, I don't think so. I think if it was white, he'd be like, it's white. You'll never get it.
I think it might be a white woman. I think she's very white.
I think she's the
very
whitest
white?
of the whites.
Nicole Kidman.
Wow.
I don't even know who that is. Who's Nicole Kidman?
Oh, you know who Nicole Kidman is.
I've heard the name. I just can't picture it right now.
She falls in that short list of women for me where it's I understand that she's beautiful.
Oh,
and
no.
I recognize that she's a beautiful woman, but I'm not attracted to her at all.
I don't think she's that attractive.
She used to be.
She's married to Keith Urban.
That's the country guy.
Yeah, Australian, but yes, country music singer.
If she walked in this
She's
room
not
right now,
attractive. It's just not attractive to me. I get a lot of like, dude, bullshit, man. There's no way you think shit. That just, to me, I'm looking at her, not my cup of tea.
if she walked in this room right now, I'd be like, I recognize that you are an objectively beautiful woman, but you also look like you're porcelain, like not real. Too much statuesque, you know?
That's wild.
Yeah, I feel the same way about Giselle.
Giselle.
Maybe I just hate tall women. That could be it.
Tom Brady's ex-wife.
Yeah.
Giselle Catherine?
Giselle Bundchen.
Oh.
She was a German who her family moved to South America.
Bundchen.
You know who else might have done that?
Yep.
No,
Celebrate Oktoberfest down there.
that's a beautiful woman.
Oh, you like her?
Yeah, that's a pretty woman. Yeah.
You can have her.
not interested.
I think the jiu-jitsu coach has that locked
Oh, yeah,
down.
that's true. Yeah. So
Said you could have her.
Back to psychoanalysis. By the way, the teeth dream, if anybody else has that out there, that means that either you said something you regret saying or you should have said something that you didn't speak up about. One of the two.
Do you believe that dream interpretations is having any kind of relevance to the type of dreams you have?
There's probably some truth to it. Like Big T just convinced me when he was like, that has to do with San Diego and you not being there. That probably had something to do with it.
I do think there has to be, for your brain to like concoct a story, like there has to be something.
Just like your subconscious analysis of what's going on in your life, and it makes a script and a movie about it in your head.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Subconscious is. I firmly believe that if you got writer's block or you're stuck with a problem, write it down, and then fall asleep and let your subconscious cook on it.
Well, I'll tell you off air, but I had the most fascinating video idea I've ever had in my life. And if I can pull this off, like I guarantee this will be very impactful. It's so dope. I'll tell you later. Go.
Okay. Watch the space. So psychoanalysis was developed to address unconscious factors of thinking and how your subliminal conscious can impact your day-to-day. Freud was working with patients that had not been helped by the traditional methods. He discovered that listening and talking to these patients was helpful at first, but that their initial improvement faded as they reverted back to their starting point or they developed another problem. This is how he discovered the psyche's unconscious resistance to change. So at the baseline of everything was you have a deep underlying subconscious that is very, very hard to change in its ways. So any problem that you encounter, you'll fall back to your like internal core method of dealing with these issues unless you try to work on your subconscious and figure out why you were thinking the way that you are. So that could be self-sabotage in some cases. It could also go the other way, where if you just have an inherent ability to conquer challenges and to deal with them in a productive manner, it goes back to a core belief that you have about yourself. But the people that would see a doctor would be people that would be having problems with that, with their lives and different ways that they try to address these situations. So he was like, okay, there's something deep down inside you that is having you go about these challenges in an unproductive manner. Let's figure out why that is. So he developed psychoanalysis. Psychoanalysts are trained first as psychotherapists. Then they have a second training to become psychoanalysts. So it's like training to become a specialist. Like a general practitioner of medicine has to have additional training to become a cardiologist. Psychoanalytic training is a minimum of 5 years. It's especially designed to help the psychoanalyst address the unconscious levels of a client's mind so that the resistances to change lose their grip. Psychology is a discipline, and psychoanalysis is one technique within that discipline, making psychoanalysts a type of psychologist. The problem with this is that not all psychoanalysts are psychologists. Some are psychiatrists or even social workers. Psychologists are mental health professionals. They have doctoral degrees in psychology. A lot of psychologists have completed clinical training. They work with patients, but they're also research psychologists who study how human minds work, how animal minds work. Psychiatrists are doctors of medicine with MDs who have chosen to specialize in the treatment of mental health problems. Because they're medical doctors, they can prescribe medications. Psychoanalysts are clinicians who practice a particular kind of psychotherapy based on theories that were first proposed by Freud and later expanded upon or corrected by experts in the field. So psychoanalysts, they specialize in Freudian theory. It's a big difference. In 1873, Freud studied medicine at the University of Vienna. He did study zoology as well, which is pretty crazy because it impacted some of his studies. His professor assigned to him the task of finding the gonads of male eels, a discovery that eluded scientists for centuries. They didn't know where the eel's nuts were. Freud spent many hours dissecting eels to no avail, trying to find their balls. All the eels I have cut open are of the tenderer sex, he reported. He said that they were all chicks. After graduating, he worked at the Vienna General Hospital. Like we said, he collaborated with Joseph Breuer in treating hysteria. And this is where he gets his first ideas about psychotherapy. Hysteria was like a catch-all term for just people that are nuts. They just were like, okay, crazy people. How do you help them? He would try to help them by hypnotizing them to recall painful experiences and to deal with the painful experiences. In 1896, he announced his seduction theory, which traced the cause of mental illness to repressed memories of parental sexual abuse. Most of the histories on which he based the theory involved women. Again, as we've talked about with Freud, I don't know that you can say that mental illness is caused by your parents sexually abusing you. But I'm sure that if your parents do sexually abuse you, it probably gives you a predisposition to develop mental illnesses.
For sure.
Or abnormalities. The theory represented a revolutionary view of mental illness because psychiatrists before Freud, who had heard of their patients recounting childhood stories of rape and sodomy, had accused the patients of being hysterical liars. So they would see somebody that's like going crazy, then their patients tell them why they're going crazy, and then the doctor's like, that's more evidence that you're crazy right there. And so then you can see how that type of medicine would just lend people to say, okay, we're just going to lock you in a room then. If they disclose like what they think is making them nuts, and you're like, okay, you're crazy. We're just going to lock you away for a while. But then Freud ditched the concept. He abandoned the theory because he realized the patients whose case histories were crucial to its formation had probably recalled fantasies, and because the theory would point to relatively widespread perversion among fathers. Again, like saying that they're fantasies, I don't know if, like, I'm sure that there were a lot of people that actually experienced that Freud was like, no, you're making that up. Kind of did the same thing that people had been doing beforehand. He switched theories after one of his patients nearly bled to death. from a bizarre operation performed by a colleague who believes sex-based mental problems could be cured through nasal surgery. So there was a nose operation that almost killed somebody to try to make them less sexually deviant, I guess. I don't know. There's a lot of cultures that have different beliefs in parts of your body affecting other parts. Like Chinese medicine is very centered around the ear with like acupuncture.
Yeah.
There's like maybe 100 different pressure points on your ear that they stick with needles sometimes to be like, this will get rid of your heart problems. This will cure athlete's foot.
How accurate do you think those are?
I think there's probably some truth to pressure points.
I think a lot of people believe in acupuncture.
Yeah, acupuncture, I don't know if it's mental, but it does work for some people. So if you believe that you're getting better, then you can get better. It's just treating the brain, I think. But yeah, I think there's probably some truth to it. I don't know. I haven't really studied acupuncture that much. I just know I'd never do it. I remember back, this was like early 2010s, James Harrison would get like hundreds of needles put into his back to recover. He looked like a porcupine. And so he saw like one of his teammates getting acupuncture one time, and James Harrison walked in and he was like, I want what that guy's getting. They're like, okay, where do you want the acupuncture? He said, whatever that guy, or he said, what's the most that you've ever put into a human body? And they told him, he was like, okay, I want double that. So not super scientific, but he was just like, I'm going to be a bigger man. That dude's scary. I don't know how you felt when you were playing football, Arian, but
I think I told you the story about it. I didn't tell you the story.
I don't know. Out of all the people in the NFL, I feel like I would be the most scared of him.
We was 2011. We was playing them, and Andre Johnson had went down. I think he had like a hamstring injury or something like that. That kind of sat him down for the majority of the year. And we all kind of huddled around. Everybody respects Andre on both sides of the ball all the time. Like he's just one of those players who always had mad respect. So everybody kind of just huddled around him. We all just sitting there. And I see James Harrison. He was also undrafted. And I was like, hey, man, congrats, on all your career. I know being undrafted is hard to do. He was like, yeah, man. Just randomly, he was like, yeah, man, I just go out there. I just want to see somebody. I just want to hurt him. I was like, okay, that's what's up. Don't do that to me, bro.
What percentage of like particularly defensive guys in the NFL were like that?
I think some of that shit is an act, honestly. I never really bought it because like the majority, they're just regular, bro. You put your pants on one leg at a time, like I did. Like that's the one thing I got out of being in the NFL and not these high prestige names is like the hype gets kind of overblown. And so like guys are never really as good as the media hypes them up to be. And so you go and you play them, it's like you just another cat. You are an exceptional cat, but you're just another dude. And a lot of that shit is just an act, man. Part of the brand.
I don't think it was an act for James though.
Could be. I didn't know him on the field.
Yeah, he was different.
Could be. I don't know. But that was an odd-ass thing to say to me when I said congratulations.
Yeah. Congrats, man. Really happy for you and your family. You've done incredible things being undrafted. I just want to kill people, man.
Yeah, I want to hurt people.
Vontaze Burfict wanted to hurt people.
Yeah.
That's probably true.
He did.
Although I played him a couple times, I never got that vibe from him.
You didn't?
Nah, like he didn't. We saw that he was dirty, like on film and shit, but like, he doesn't never do anything to me. And like there was never any instances where I was like, I'll go to bat for my squad, like I'll fight, and I never got that feeling where I had to buck up on him or nothing. So
I feel like Sean Merriman tried to hurt people too.
I only played him once, and there was no funk. But yeah, he had that reputation as well.
Now he's into MMA. We had him on the show actually. Who's the other guy I was thinking? Oh, Greg Hardy. God damn, do I love it when Greg Hardy gets knocked out. It is the best.
Is he still doing UFC?
He did some sort of MMA, not UFC. He hasn't been in the UFC universe for a while, but he's doing MMA. And as far as I can tell, he shows up, gets knocked the fuck out, and then America rejoices. And it happens once every 3 months because that dude is a bad dude.
Heard some bad things about Cass.
Yeah. So Freud switched his theories, like I said, after one of his patients almost died when they were trying to cut their nose open to fix their sex stuff. In the 1980s, there was an author by the name of J.M. Masson, and J.M. Masson posited that Freud abandoned the seduction theory and replaced it with a hypothesis that as a consequence of a precocious sexual development, little girls fantasize that they have been sexually molested by their fathers. In doing so, Masson alleged, Freud deliberately suppressed his knowledge of the truth and invented a morally cosmetic theory that would protect fathers from the legitimate accusations of their daughters against them. Kind of like what we said earlier, which is like his first concept was the way that we're treating sexual illness, or I don't know what the correct term for that is, but people that have mental illness related to sex, they're all making it up. That was the prevailing theory. And then Freud was like, no, we should listen to them. And then later on, Freud was like, no, we shouldn't listen to them anymore because this all can't be true. And so there's some criticism that he was doing that to protect all dads at the time. We talked a little bit about Oedipus and Electra. He founded that in 1899. It's used to describe the experience of children having a possessive fixation or desire towards their parent of the opposite sex, along with rival feelings towards the parent of their same sex. According to the Oedipus theory, all children go through an Oedipal phase as part of a natural sexual development. These feelings could impact a child's development and adulthood, but only if they're unable to move past this phase and the parental fixation remains. This might have just been more about Freud than about everybody else, but there are 5 phases in Freud's theory on psychosexual development. In each phase, the child's subconscious focuses on a specific part of the body. The phases are oral, infancy to 18 months, anal is 18 months to 3 years, phallic is 3 years to 5 years, latency is 5 years to 12 years, and then genital is 12 years till the rest of your life.
Did anyone look into this guy? Because he's got some weird stuff. Listen, if you're attracted to your mom, that's awesome. If you want to, well, it's not awesome, but that's fine. If you want to project that onto other people, that's your right. This kid stuff, that's a little weird.
He does seem fixated on the idea of sexualizing kids. The genital phase being 12 years to adulthood. I gotta say, he nailed that one. Absolutely spot on.
That's fair enough.
By Freud. When you're really old, are you still like, love my dick?
I think nursing homes are like breeding grounds for STDs.
Yeah. Let's just check in on my dick. There he is. Love you, big guy.
My stepdad always says, like, the moment yours stops working, you're going to be free. That's what he says.
Yeah. Yeah, it changes your entire way of thinking. It's not a bad point. So just as the Oedipus complex was named after a Greek myth, so is the Electra complex. Electra was the daughter of Agamemnon and Clytemnestra. That's a hot name too. When Clytemnestra and her lover killed Agamemnon, Electra persuaded her brother Orestes to help her kill both her mother and her mother's lover. We've heard of Freudian slips before, right? Freudian slip, an error in speaking that Freud believed were not accidents and revealed desires or suppressed thoughts from the unconscious mind. The technical term is parapraxis, though Freud called them some German name that I can't pronounce. It's a German word meaning faulty actions.
Fehlleistungen.
Fehlleistungen. I want to give some credit to the Germans because we've talked about them a little bit today in unflattering terms.
You know who else was German?
Yep. They do a great job of words.
Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude is a great word. Katzenkoffen. You know what Katzenkoffen is?
Never heard of that.
You're very familiar with it.
I might be. I don't know what it means.
Hangover. Means cats in your head.
Yeah, he was.
Cats in your head?
Yeah.
Why would that be the thing?
Like a bunch of cats running around in your head. What could be more annoying than that?
I mean, touche. I got dogs.
Yeah, Rico has cats in coffin. except it's Dan. The idea of a Freudian slip first appears in his 1901 book, The Psychopathy of Everyday Life. Freud based the idea on his work with a young man who misquoted a Latin phrase from the Iliad? The young man had dropped one of the Latin words when he repeated it, and Freud believed that dropping the word offered a revealing look into his unconscious mind. This seems like Freud spent years of his life trying to own this one dude. Like, you made a mistake when you were reading a line of dialogue because you're gay, and I will prove it. That's what it seems like to me. The most famous recent example of Freudian slips, I looked this up yesterday. George W. Bush in 2022, he condemned the Russian invasion of Ukraine by saying, and I quote, "The decision of one man to launch a wholly unjust," I can't even say this with a straight face. Just this even even the first part of it is just like, dude, come on. All right, so this is what George Bush said about Russia invading Ukraine. "The decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of Ukraine."
To his credit, he did like stop and laugh.
Good. I'm glad he had a good chuckle.
But he acknowledged it.
Yeah, like, okay, hand up. It was, brutal, unjustified. It was bad. You think he's a painter too, by the way?
He has some good stuff.
He's not bad. You think he's like driving himself crazy with shame?
About what? Iraq?
Iraq, yeah.
No.
He should be.
There's no way.
You think he's buried it under mountains of bullshit?
Well, I just think people that make those calls justified in the moment as this is what I have to do, and they don't ever hold themselves accountable in that way. Like, cause what it was like almost 1 million people died, or even over 1 million, right?
The figures vary, but yeah, it's like 6 figures easily to
Right.
maybe 1 million. But yeah, a lot of Iraqi civilians.
Yeah, so I don't think they ever liken it to like I am responsible for those lives. More like I had to make a tough call, and tough calls have to be made.
Actually, I would say that George W. Bush might disprove some of Freud's theories. Because there was one time in the lead up to Iraq when he wanted to invade, he was making his case, and then he was getting frustrated because people were like, we don't know about the WMDs, seems kind of dicey. He goes, remember, this is the guy that tried to kill my dad. And if Freud was right, then George W. Bush would absolutely love Saddam Hussein. Oedipus complex. Like, this dude tried to do me a favor. Yeah, but in that one little slip of the tongue, it was like, yeah, okay, I understand why you'd want to take out a guy that tried to kill your dad. That's fucked up. You want to stand up for your dad.
I found like a little list full of famous Freudian slips.
Mm-hmm.
Here's some. So George H., the big W. He said, for 7.5 years, I worked alongside President Reagan. We've had triumphs, made some mistakes. We've had some setbacks. John McCain, while stumping onto the campaign trail for Mitt Romney, the senator said, I am confident with the leadership and the backing of the American people, President Obama will turn this country around.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Heather Locklear. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say Bryce Harper. When he signed with the Philadelphia Phillies, he famously said, I'm just very excited to bring a World Series title to the city of Washington.
No, did you?
And I believe they did win it that year.
They did.
That's wild.
Yep. Thank you, Bryce.
That's wild.
Locklear?
Oh, my bad. I think we're going. I said, while making an appearance on Live with Kelly and Regis. Oh, shit. I have another one that's probably not on this list. While making an appearance on Live with Regis and Kelly, the Melrose Place star was talking about her bedroom and accidentally said the name of her ex-husband, Tommy Lee, instead of her current Bo Ritchie Sambra. And then she let out a string of expletives before Regis smartly cut to commercial. That's fucked up. Do you remember on The View when Ozzy Osbourne's daughter, I forget her name,
Kelly?
Yeah, when she was like, she was trying to disparage Donald Trump, and she was like, you want to get rid of all the Mexicans, Donald Trump? Well, if you do that, who's gonna clean your toilets? And everybody was like, what the fuck? She's like, no, you know what I mean. And everybody's like, nah, bruh, that ain't it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
She thought that she just dropped like a banger of a line.
Yeah,
she had rehearsed that one backstage.
Kill him with this one.
That further cements my theory that The View only exists to have moments online that are shared. Like, what the fuck is this show?
Yeah.
I don't know anyone that actually watches The View, but everyone gets mad about The View.
That's true. I don't know anybody that watches The View.
Big T, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that a lot of people on the right look at The View as being one of the most important, like, cultural shows for liberals.
No, you love doing this. You love assigning like a straw man argument that like doesn't exist.
Because I do feel like almost every time
it's on network television every day. I'm sure it does very well.
Almost every time I've heard of The View has been from people getting mad about The View.
Yeah, nobody. I don't know how many people watch it, enough that it's been on for how many years? 25?
Long time, yeah. Long time.
But like, I don't know a single person that's like, where the real stuff is happening, The View.
Yeah. But I would probably agree that if you're watching The View, you're more than likely to be a liberal.
I can't fathom that many conservatives are dying to watch it.
No. Freud also came up with the idea of the id, the ego, and the superego. The structure of the psyche, according to Freud, was 3 parts. The id is a set of uncoordinated, instinctual, and impulsive desires. That's like your little lizard brain. Tells you gotta fuck, gotta eat, gotta sleep. The superego plays a critical and moralizing role, one that delivers mental punishment or reward for a person's actions, and the ego is the mediating force between the two. He first introduced the structural model of the psyche in 1920 in an essay, Beyond the Pleasure Principle, and refined the idea in 1923 when he wrote The Ego and the Id. And in 1930, he wrote Civilization and Its Disconnects. He located the source of discontent in civilization in the tyranny of the superego, which he saw at work at both the cultural and individual levels. At the cultural level, the superego takes the form of an imperative of universal love. Thou shalt love thy neighbor without distinction simply because he's a human being. According to Freud, this imperative is unrealizable and unacceptable. It is unrealizable because human beings are not gentle creatures who want to be loved and who at the most can defend themselves if they are attacked. They are, on the contrary, creatures among whose instinctual endowments is to be reckoned a powerful share of aggressiveness. Fast forward a little bit, was not taken as a friend of the state by the Nazis and the Germans. Freud was an atheist, and he considered belief in God to be a fantasy based on the infantile need for a father figure.
His whole psychology and worldview is based on little kids' view of the world, bro. This nigga's wild, bro.
Yeah, it's just like he's got two boxes he can put stuff in. Like everything has to do with either your mom or your dad. And so you can ask him any question, like, "What do you think about God?" Well, I can tell you're asking me about my father. So let me dive into that real quick.
It's wild, though.
So even though he is an atheist, he was born into a Jewish family, and he was a target of the Nazis when they got to power. They burned his books in 1933, and he said, "What progress we're making. In the Middle Ages, they would have burnt me. Nowadays, they're content with burning my books." Sharp tongue. After Germany annexed Austria, the Nazis raided his apartment. The Gestapo detained and interrogated his daughter. With the assistance of his friend and patient, Princess Marie Bonaparte, she was a great-grandniece of Napoleon, Freud reluctantly fled to Paris and then London with his wife and his daughter. Bonaparte attempted but failed to obtain exit visas for all of Freud's sisters. There were 4 of them. And then Freud died just weeks after the start of World War II. The 4 sisters left behind in Vienna were eventually killed and sent to concentration camps.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah, pretty brutal. Do you know why, by the way, just diving back to this documentary that I saw, why the Nazis invented concentration camps? Or why they invented, not that they had concentration camps for the Jews before and at the onset of the war for people that they deemed like problematic or rabble rousers. But do you know why they invented like the mass killing system of the gas chambers and all that?
Mm-mm.
To ease the psychological burden on their soldiers who were committing mass murder with just guns. So they in Ukraine they took
Holy
like
shit.
33,000 people, 33,000 Jews were taken from, I believe it was in Kyiv, and they took them out to this giant ditch, and then they shot 33,000 people with like individual bullets. And then I believe, who was it? Was it it wasn't Goebbels who was out there. I believe it was Himmler. Himmler was out there, and he got splattered with some brains, and he was like, "This is disgusting. We can't do this. We need to figure out a better way to kill people so that our people don't get any sort of like mental discomfort from executing all these people." Pretty fucked up.
That's the kind of psychology that's interesting as shit to me, is that you're empathetic towards people that have to murder people, but not empathetic towards the people that are being murdered.
Yes.
Shit is crazy, dog.
It's crazy mental gymnastics that you have to put yourself through.
It.
So, yeah, the 4 sisters of his wife, they were killed, and with Bonaparte's help, that was his fiancée or wife at the time, I believe. Freud may not have made it out in time if the process was not expedited by a sympathetic Nazi officer in charge of his assets. His name was Anton Sauerwald. Sauerwald studied chemistry at Vienna University under a friend of Freud's, and this recommendation was strong enough to let Freud escape. In a footnote to his paper, Analysis of Phobia in a 5-Year-Old Boy, Freud remarks that he believed the universal fear of castration may be the origin of anti-Semitism, as the Jewish religion called for ceremonial circumcision. This dude...
Every single one of his theories go back to like some childhood absence.
Why do you think Nazis are slaughtering Jews? Well, I'm thinking about boy penis. Something to do with that, for sure.
You're wild, dog.
He also invented penis envy. He coined the term in 1908 as part of his belief that when female children realize they lack a penis, they feel castrated in comparison to males. Freud believed this was a pivotal moment in female sexual development and a source of mental illness. He's like, how great would the world be if we all had penises? He's obsessed with his own penis. He holds his penis in such high regard that he's like, you know what I think all women have problems with? When they realize they don't have my penis. Psychologists have long questioned and criticized the theory. Freud based the idea on his own beliefs about sex and gender rather than on data. He had no shit. To date, no research has ever proven that penis envy exists. Many would also argue that the theory is sexist. I would go along with that. Yeah, I could be talked into that.
There's a case that you're getting kind of woke now.
Yeah, I might be. They say that this theory assumes that being male is inherently more desired than being female. Despite this criticism, penis envy was a popular concept in Freudian psychoanalysis during the 20th century. Freud did not like lesbians, probably because he looked at them and he was like, I wish they had penises. That makes a lot of sense to me.
They do. They're just not. They're movable.
With the penises?
Yeah. Dildos.
Oh, you're talking about yeah.
I was lost.
He didn't watch good enough porn. He believed that homosexuality in men is neurotic but not particularly hazardous. Lesbianism he considered a gateway to mental illness.
So being gay, not my thing, but I see why you did that. Lesbianism, nah, fam, y'all are fucking ill.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have penises and you're having sex? How does that work? How does that? I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Freud never made a woman come.
It's very highly likely.
I'd say so. He's like, how do I make this thing come if there's no penis? Doesn't make any sense. That's not sex.
That's
you need
not
a penis.
sex. It's just you're taking it.
He taught that lesbianism is always the fault of the father and it's curable by psychoanalysis. His daughter Anna was his closest intellectual an emotional companion. She was also a lesbian. When Anna was 23, she enjoyed a very close friendship with another woman, and Freud took her into analysis anyways. For 6 nights a week over several years, he and Anna analyzed and dissected her masturbation fantasies.
Crazy, bro. Mans was crazy.
Which featured an angry father figure beating a child who had made a mistake over which she had no control.
So wait, she was watching like, that like family porn, or she was fantasizing about like family porn?
This doesn't seem like family porn. It seems like she was getting off to thinking about an angry dad beating an innocent child.
There's a section for that, like in X videos or Pornhub. Like you go to like naughty stepdaughter does, what I'm saying? There's sections for that.
Stepmother's stuck.
Yeah, all that
stuck.
stuff.
I'm stuck in this window. Can you get me out of this window? Yeah, this seems like this might be a specific fantasy that she had, and to be sitting down for 6 nights a week talking about your masturbation fantasies with your father.
But also it could have been his like projection too, like, because all of his theories lead up to this. So like imagine having that conversation with your 23-year-old daughter. Like, what do you think about when you masturbate? It probably led her into believing that's what she's thinking about. Or maybe she's like, yeah, bro, my dad's fucking weird.
He definitely loved this too.
No question.
He enjoyed this. If you're doing this 6 nights a week with your daughter, like nobody would ever want to, number one, do that, have that conversation with their daughter. But to have this like almost every single day, he loved this shit.
Yeah, I'm a big T. Has he ever been investigated?
I think he wrote a lot of stuff down. He spoke publicly about her fantasies at a conference while Anna sat on the stage near the podium. He did not name the patient under discussion, but we know the patient was Anna because when she wanted to become an analyst, she described the same fantasies in a paper titled Beating Fantasies and Daydreams. She also wrote to her friends about her fantasies. For context, Freud was not alone with his views in this period. He became a doctor at a time when lesbianism and masturbation were considered symptoms of hysteria. Most other doctors of the era treated hysteria with opiates or by removing the patient's ovaries or clitoris. By that standard, Freud's method of talking out the issues was at least an improvement. Yeah, really glad we didn't grow up in this era.
Yeah, for several reasons.
He was also a big coke guy. Freud would have done well in the cocaine Olympics. He started smoking when he was 24. Kind of a weird age to start smoking in that era. I feel like you get started younger than that.
Susceptible to peer pressure. That's what I'm hearing.
Well, what were you doing until you're 24? Like, who picks up smoking for the first time? I guess it probably happens sometimes.
Well, I mean, back then smoking early was kind of normal too. Like this was probably like the age of like, kid labor and stuff like that.
No, that's what like. I agree with you. I'm saying that he probably should have started smoking before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird that it took him so long. So he started smoking cigars, and he thought it helped his productivity, and he received a bunch of health warnings about it, but he was like, fuck that, I'm gonna keep smoking. He got mouth cancer, and he suggested to his coworker that addictions, including to tobacco, were substitutes for masturbation. Everything with this guy. I think just anything you enjoy, he's like, you're jacking off right now. Like he would walk into this office and see us watching football on Saturday and Sunday, be like, how's the masturbation going, guys?
Or this is repressed sexual fantasies of your father that never came to fruition.
Yeah. Freud was also a big coke guy, huge coke guy. In the 1880s, he grew interest in cocaine. As Arian pointed out, he was 100 years ahead of his time. I don't feel like maybe the coke was really good back in the 1800s.
Probably better.
It might have been the best coke ever. That might be like completely inversely correlated to how weed has gone. Coke has gone, right?
It's not just weed. I was reading this study not too long ago where like fruits, there's evidence that fruits and vegetables have less nutrients than they did a long time ago. So so food is getting less dense with nutrients. And so I would assume that has to be with, like most vegetation as well.
But no, I feel like weed's gotten better though.
That's true. Well, the better, higher potency. I don't know if that makes it better.
Yeah, that's true. It might have less vitamins in it.
Yeah. Well, it's too much. Bring back mids.
Bring back mids.
Did you saw Minty stole that joke?
Yeah, that was Freudian.
Was it?
It was in his subconscious. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
There were accusations. I saw somebody call.
I don't know.
He could be saying worse stuff. So
That's true.
That's true. Still my joke, Kev.
Maybe he was just he likes to just repeat things that Arian says all the time. That could be it. Somebody called him Ben Mencia. I didn't think that was very funny. Stop saying that. You know about Carlos Mencia?
Is that the comic that stole jokes?
Yep. Stole a bunch of jokes.
Yep.
So Freud was really into coke. It was legal at the time, and it was being prescribed by a German military doctor to provide energy to soldiers that had been fighting for a long time. That's not that uncommon in war, to find a way to stay awake and stay focused, and you can worry about sleeping after you're done with the war. In fact, I think the United States was doing that too for some of their pilots. It was definitely happening in Germany, though. And he experimented with coke, Freud did. He found that his digestion and his spirits improved after he drank water laced with dissolved cocaine. He distributed doses to his friends and future wife and touted the drug's therapeutic benefits in an 1884 paper on cocoa, which he called a song of praise to this magical substance. He was a drug dealer. He was a drug dealer. So he just put it in water, stirred it around, drank it, felt better. When Freud gave cocaine to his close friend Ernst von Fleischmarksau to wean him from his morphine addiction and relieve chronic pain.
Lit name, though, not going to lie.
Yeah, Ernst von Fleischmarksau was a morphine addict in constant pain. Freud gave him some coke. His friend then got addicted to cocaine. With news of other addictions and overdose deaths spreading, Freud stopped advocating cocaine's medical benefits, but he continued to use the drug intermittently for migraines, nasal inflammation, and depression until the mid-1890s. I think he probably kept it coming. Yeah. I think if you really enjoy coke that much and you're using it to cure migraines, which are most likely caused by not doing cocaine. Also, he used it for nasal inflammation. Does that mean to get more nasal inflammation?
Was he still mixing it in water or not? I guess that depends on that.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I was just thinking that would probably be the last thing that you would want to do.
It's like, I keep getting nasal inflammations. I need the coke to calm that down.
I haven't had enough coke yet. That's the problem.
Explain something to me as a novice. So people like snorting cocaine, doesn't that it makes your nose bleed and stuff, right?
It can develop nasal irritation.
Like you just said, couldn't you just dump it into some water and chug it real quick?
I think you probably, I'm not an expert on this. I'm not a drug guy. But I think you would probably lose a significant amount of its potency. And cocaine is so expensive that if you were to dump a bag into water, I don't know how you would dose that out. And then it would also be kind of a waste of cocaine.
I've never done cocaine. I don't know shit about it. But you can do that with shrooms. You can a lot of people boil them in tea. So you put those shrooms in tea and a lot of those nutrients fall into the tea and you get the same effect.
Yeah, I think it might have something to do with the chemical structure of coke, where if you stir it up in water, you might lose some of it. That's my best guess, at least. I do know one lady, this few years ago, she put in a nose spray bottle with a little bit of water, and then she would always have her nose spray bottle with her.
That's crazy.
That's pretty savvy, though, if you're going to do it.
Yeah.
How my allergies are acting up. Let me get a hit.
I wonder if Freud ever equated coke to his dad's penis. I know
this is that coke might be the first thing that you don't attribute to sexual child trauma.
Yeah, it might be. This smells like my dad's balls. Is that why I like it so much? he stopped advocating for coke, but he still used it. And in the summer of 1939, he was getting old. He had very bad pain from mouth cancer, and he had several surgeries for that. And on September 21st, 1939, Freud grabbed his doctor's hand, who was also his friend, a guy named Max Schur, and reminded him of his earlier pledge to not torment me unnecessarily. And he said, now it is nothing but torture and makes no sense. After receiving the permission of Freud's daughter Anna, Schur injected the first of 3 heavy morphine doses. Freud slipped into a coma and he died. Not a bad way to go. Like if I'm 100 years old, nothing works anymore, it's time, I might just go buy a bag of heroin. Just do heroin for the first time. See ya.
I want to take like 3 massive dosages of like hero doses of like LSD and mushrooms, and like I want to go out like that, just out of my mind, don't know what's going on, and I just like have a heart attack and die. That would be a dope way to go out.
You might also just panic.
Yeah, it could just be like a super panic attack,
like the worst way ever to die.
Or like I just have like some massive revelation.
I think I would take some LSD, not necessarily hero doses, but I would take good amount of LSD, enough to make me trip, and then I'd do it again the next day, and the next day until I felt like I was tired. Then boom, heroin. So I get to enjoy the acid experiences. There has been a lot of criticism about Freud. I think we discovered some on our own just by talking about the guy. It's not really hard to figure out what was kind of fucked up about him. But World War II proved to be pivotal in psychoanalysis prominence in America. I guess this is more about his legacy than his criticism. But during the years that Hitler was in power, only about 50 Freudian analysts immigrated to the United States, but there were big names in the field, and they went on to become university chairs, and they decided what the medical school curriculum was going to be, and they wrote the first 2 editions of the DSM. I know what the DSM is, do you?
Diagnostic something of medicine. I know what it is. I don't know what it stands for.
I was thinking of something else that wasn't DSM, so I was hoping that you would know.
Yeah,
the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was
they always argue that when they're talking about trans and stuff like that because like gender dysphoria is in the DSM, and so people argue its validity versus not validity.
So so it took hold in the United States, and by the 1950s.
What were you thinking of?
I was thinking of the physician's desk reference.
Ah.
Yeah.
Got it.
But I didn't know DSM. But,
similar thing.
Yeah. So by the mid-1950s, half of all hospital patients in the U.S. were diagnosed with mental disorders. So it is a relatively new thing to be doing psychoanalysis and using his theories to treat and diagnose all these mental problems. But most importantly, psychoanalysis helped move the treatment of mental illness from the asylum and the hospital to the office. So psychoanalysis is talk therapy, which meant that people who were otherwise functioning normally could avail themselves of treatment. The greater the number of people who wanted that kind of therapy, the greater the demand for therapists, and the post-war decades were a boom time for psychiatry. Ironically, Freud only visited the U.S. once during his life, and he hated us. He hated the U.S. Might like it a little bit more if he knew what it was all about right now. But, yeah.
When would he have come? 1880s? That was like a rough time.
Yeah, we didn't even have football.
Right on the cusp.
Yeah. Well, he could have come in the when he moved to England during World War II. Could have come to America.
Yeah, I guess he lived a while after that.
Yeah, so he I think overall it's a good thing for medicine to be like, okay, if you have any sort of mental illness or any sort of condition that you're dealing with, you can get it treated, and we can use talk therapy to treat it instead of just admitting that you might have an issue and then their only answer is just locking you in a room.
I feel like I have found a tidbit about Freud that maybe he should have explored a little bit more in his own psychoanalysis of himself.
Okay.
Do you know what his middle name is?
Shlomo.
Shlomo.
Yeah.
I feel like he had to get made fun of relentlessly for that. Shlomo, you're such a Shlomo.
I know exactly what you're saying. I think it's a traditional Jewish name.
Okay.
So he probably grew up around other people that wasn't.
But I mean, if he ever lost a race,
Shlomo, yeah, good point. Good point.
I mean, that had to be merciless.
Do you think that
Freudian?
Would it be like a boy named Sue, where if you grow up with the name Shlomo, you have to be fast?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Because of the fear of being called slow-mo.
He doesn't give me fast vibes.
Wait, was slow-mo a thing back then?
I'm
like
sure
slow-mo
it wasn't. But
yeah, because there was that cameras capture slow motion. There was no notion of slow motion.
Well, thanks for ruining my joke.
Sorry, my bad.
I think you could still move in slow motion.
But was it like a thing? Like maybe that could be. But I think that was like a big camera reference.
Yeah. I don't want to say anything that I shouldn't say. Fuck it, I'm going to say it.
Okay.
Jesse Owens' form was not that good.
You think you could beat him?
No.
You think Arian could beat him?
Yes.
I think in my prime I probably could have beat him, but I mean, they were running on dirt tracks. What did he run? What was his time?
I'm looking.
Look up his running motion too. I feel like he left a lot and I'm saying he obviously had he worked very, very hard and he was the best in the world. So he at the time with his competition, he was by far the best athlete. So I'm not trying to detract from him, but I'm just saying if we gave him modern coaching, like it's a good hypothetical to discuss with him because his form, he's like leaning back.
Jesse Owens.
Okay, this is where you're wrong. So
I think I know more about running fast than Arian Foster.
He did run a 4.7.
You may be, but if you look at Michael Johnson, 1996 Atlanta Olympic winner, was the world record holder in the 2 and the 4. He had a very similar running style where he was really back.
Yeah.
He was very relaxed. And he was at one point in time the fastest man in America. No, fastest man in the world, excuse me.
That is a fair point because he had a unique running style and he was just dusting everybody.
Yeah.
What were Jesse Owens' times? Can we look that up?
His personal best in the 100-meter was a 10.2.
No, he would have dusted me.
Usain Bolt's was 9.57.
Yo, that's insane for back then. 10.2?
Yeah, that's actually much faster than I would have guessed.
Usain Bolt was faster than that. Usain Bolt was 9. Wait, what did you say?
9.57.
Okay, yeah, you're right. I thought you said 9.7. Yeah, no, he'd have dusted me. 10.2 is crazy for back then.
Yeah, that's actually much faster than I would have guessed.
That's insane. You put him on a track, you give him today's diet, Jesse Owens might crack that 9.57.
Yeah.
Shit.
DK Metcalf ran a 10.02, I think.
No, he'd be moving. Yeah. That's super impressive because it was like 220, something like that.
Yeah, he's a big guy. I also beat him in a 40.
My best time ever was 10.8.
Did you ever run track?
Yeah, that's how I know what my best time was.
Okay, so it was like an officially timed thing.
Yeah, it was like in high school.
Not like a workout or something like that.
Yeah. No, it was just never like a big day because I was never one of the faster kids in the city. But like, I can move.
Okay, so I withdraw my criticism of Jesse Owens' running ability.
Yeah, because that motherfucker was moving 10-2 back. Hold on, wait, did they do 100 meters or 100 yards back then? Because that might be 10-2 sounds crazy for back then.
I'm pretty sure it was meters.
Can we double check that?
Yeah, I mean, if it was in Germany, I don't think Hitler would be like, let's use the U.S. and British system of measurement.
But I know, no, well, yeah, I mean, because back then they used to do the yard. I think it was like the 220 or something like that. You got it, Big T?
What?
I think it's meters. It says he wins the 100-meter gold Berlin in 1946.
Yeah, no, that was 100 meters was 10-2.
Okay, he's moving, dog. Holy shit.
This says 100 yards. He ran a 9.4.
That makes a lot of sense.
So 9.4 times 0.4.
Bad take. All-time bad take by P Left T.
obviously it's not going to totally equate because you're running faster, but a 9.4 yard dash would equate to a 3.7640. But you run faster over the course of 100 than you would over 40.
Yeah, I think that your second, like once you get up to speed,
like after
like 10 meters, 15 meters.
No, I think top speed is like after like 40, like 30 or 40, because they have what they call like the initial drive phase, and that's like where you're just getting going, and then you get into top speed at the peak of it, and then you kind of tail off at the end.
But let's say he could have run a 4 flat.
I don't know.
He'd have been up there.
He's fast. Okay. All right. And sometimes you got to admit when you're wrong about a take.
I like that.
And I think my take that Jesse Owens was slow is not one that will stand up to criticism.
Nope.
And for the record, my take was just that he could have been faster.
Here's a running conversion calculator.
There's got to be some other Jesse Owens haters out there. You know who else hated Jesse Owens?
Yeah, I was about to say that.
So a 10-200 meter dash is a 4.2540.
Okay.
I don't know if that's straight up or accounting for.
Still wildly impressive for the time to be able to put that up.
No, it's unheard. Like it's insane.
It's half a second faster than Arian.
Yeah, but it's got nothing to do with me. He couldn't tackle me open field. I'll tell you that. Give him a buck.
You'd run him over.
I'll give Jesse Owens that dead leg. He gonna look like everybody else I gave it to.
I have said for the record that I think that's the coolest athletic performance ever was in the 1936 Olympics.
Make up for it. Make up for it.
Well, I pre-made up for it because I said that before I had this take. I felt like
you pre-made up for it. You criticize him and then you give him a big ass compliment. It sounds like a hypocrite sandwich. Eat it up, man.
I felt like I had a pass to make fun of Jesse Owens because I'd said such nice things about him in the past.
For the record, I think he was maybe the most amazing athlete of all time.
I mean, it was great that Hitler had to watch him just beat all of his Aryan little track stars. Also, one thing that we're not taught about that Olympic Games, because that's like the main focus that we learn about the 1936 Olympics is Jesse Owens dominated Hitler's so-called Aryan superior race. The Germans absolutely smoked us in those Olympics. I think they had like over 100 gold medals. USA had 57. That's kind of an untold story behind that. But Jesse Owens, that's the one. He had to watch that right in his face. So psychoanalytic theory reached the peak of its impact in the late 50s, and then it started to fade in the 60s because of social change. Freudianism was a big target for writers associated with the women's movement. It was attacked as sexist by Betty Friedan and by Kate Millett, as it had been more than a decade earlier by Simone de Beauvoir in The Second Sex. Psychoanalysis was taking a hit inside the medical community. Studies suggesting that psychoanalysis had a low cure rate had been around for a while, but the realization that depression and anxiety can be regulated by medication made a mode of therapy whose treatment times reached into the hundreds of billable hours seem at minimum inefficient and at worst a scam. So medicine came along, modern medicine. They're like, you can take this pill or you can talk to somebody in a room and go visit them for 5 years. Or you can just feel better if you take this pill. Critics of psychoanalysis also cite that many of the hypotheses and assumptions of psychoanalytic theory cannot be tested empirically, making it impossible to falsify or validate. They also emphasize the deterministic roles of biology and the unconscious in the field and say it neglects environmental influences on the conscious mind. I think there's that to me is one thing I completely agree with. That Freud had a lot of theories that can't be tested at all. He had a lot of science that, by its very nature, is impossible to verify. So,
scientific method for the win.
What's up?
Scientific method for the win.
Yep.
It's a great baseline to think about the world.
You can't do it. Can't do it with Freud stuff. There's managed care companies and the insurance industry that came to the same conclusion. And in the third edition of the DSM in 1980, they scrubbed out almost every trace of Freud. The third edition was put together by a group of psychiatrists at Washington University, where it said a framed picture of Freud was mounted above a urinal in the men's room. In 1999, a study published in American Psychologist reported that psychoanalytic research has been virtually ignored by the mainstream scientific psychology over the past several decades. So there's definitely a lot of stuff that Freud talked about that still has a lot of impact in psychology today, for sure. But it's not like we're just like using Freud as the end all be all for everything. Which is probably a good thing, because he was one guy with a bunch of theories, was probably wrong about a lot of stuff, may have been right about some stuff. But it's probably good that we're just not all talking about the like doing our science based off of the coke addict that thought about like his daughter masturbating all the time.
I think this is a good thing, though. I think the system we have in place is a good one. It's like a filter. Doesn't matter where it comes from. If there's a kernel of truth in what you're saying, we can hold on to that despite all of your flaws as a human.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, I think it's a very good thing that we're not treating mental illness by just sending people to asylums anymore. Although we should talk about at some point when they kind of closed down most of the asylums.
When was that?
When they what's the word I'm looking for? Deinstitutionalized?
Yeah.
Yeah, when they closed down a bunch of these mental asylums, a lot of times they didn't have exit strategies for them. They were just like, okay, we can't afford to keep these buildings in place. There's a lot of like abuse that was going on inside those walls across the country. And so we just said, okay, fuck it. We'll close down like half the asylums that we have. And the patients, they can just kind of go back into society and hopefully that'll be okay. And then those people go back into society. They've got problems. They have kids. Their kids inherit some of the same genetics their parents had. Their kids have problems. And then they go on to be very violent. I'll bet you there's some studies out there about like impacts of what happened when we closed down most of the mental asylums. Something to look into. Okay, so this has been fun. I learned a lot today.
Yeah.
Freud, woke or not woke?
I mean, he's certainly out there.
Yeah.
Which I would tend to say leans more woke.
He hated lesbians.
True.
Yeah, but he said, but that was just because he didn't like women. He was like, dude, gay guys are like fine.
Freud, I bet, if he were
He's
here,
just obsessed with wieners.
if Freud was here today, and he sat in on an episode of Macrodosing, he would be like, why the fuck do you keep talking about the WNBA? These players don't even have penises.
Yeah.
It would be a lot better if they had penises.
Charlie Kirk literally said that the other day. I was watching some clip that popped up on my feed, and he was like, said, why are we even talking about the WNBA? He's like, we wouldn't even be talking about them if they weren't women. And it was just like bro, what? Very weird moment from Charlie Kirk.
People talk about things that people will listen to and that they'll watch and get angry about.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay, so that is Macrodosing. And we will see you guys next week. We'll be back next Tuesday. And I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to it very much. And also the dozen is happening next week. And Beer Olympics is happening next week too. Or the beer games. So if you want to pay attention to that, I highly encourage it. We are for the boys. So enjoy that. Love you guys.